Hello everyone, welcome back to Ask a Scientist Gaming, where we combine mediocre gameplay with expert science. I'm Ken Hansen, Associate Professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at Florida State University. I'm a photochemist/photophysicist, which means I shine light on molecules and I want to know what happens to that energy, whether it be move electrons, move energy, make and break bonds. Do it for applications like solar cells or photomechanics or photocatalysis, whatever it might be. But more importantly, joining me today is Dr. Roberto Vincis. Roberto, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Roberto Vincis. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Biological Science at FSU. I'm a system neuroscientist. That means we try to understand how the brain integrates information pertaining what we eat. I mean, the taste, the temperature, the texture, etc., and the smell, of course, of the food we put in our mouth. And we use different techniques, without going too much in details, that allow us to detect the chit-chat of the neurons in different parts of the brain. And the goal is to decode the chit-chat of the neurons depending on what, for example, we are experiencing, if it's something sour, something sweet, something good, something bad, something hot, something cold. And I will leave it at that for the moment.
That's fair. What do you typically teach?
I teach human physiology for undergrads and sensory physiology for graduate students.
Nice. So all physiology. All right. Equally important, what game are we starting with?
I think we are starting with Sonic. Sonic 1.
Sonic 1, the original Sonic.
The original Sonic from
oh, man.
a long time ago.
Probably show up here. 1991.
Yeah.
But it is an all-time classic. Everybody knows Sonic. Not quite as famous as Mario, but Sega tried.
Right? That's weird from an Italian to pick Sonic over Mario, but indeed I grew up playing this game.
So did you have a Famicom system, the Nintendo?
No, I had a Sega Mega Drive. Don't ask me why, but I think my dad gave it to me for one Christmas. I was probably 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Long time ago, and then go from there. Spend a lot of time chasing rings.
Exactly. Oh, welcome. A bunch of first-time chatters. What do we have? Keocat, Darth Morgs, Decently Drew.
Yeah, two of them, they look surprisingly familiar.
Yeah. Oh, they're anonymous here on Twitch unless you can identify them via their names. But welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. If you're not clicking the follow button, click it. You'll get notifications about future streams. Also, we have a Discord, and you can follow us on Twitter if you want to get notifications about future guests. But thank you for joining us. It's Ask a Scientist Gaming, mediocre gameplay, expert science. Roberto has decided to start with Sonic because this is... How long has it been since you played this?
You really want to know?
I do really want to know.
Well, 20 years. 20, even more than 20.
I was going to say the max is like 32 years. Can't be worse than that, right?
But I think there is some muscle memory that stays in the brain.
Oh man, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're going to fall back into this groove.
Especially on the first level. That probably I did the first level way more than the last one. So.
Yeah. And so for you video game purists, we apologize. We have cheat codes on. Roberto has infinite lives, so he can play this definitely and maybe beat it if he wanted to commit to going to death. We also have a cheat code where you can play God mode, where he'll actually explode any enemy he touches and not take damage.
That sounds good. It sounds like appealing.
We'll get to challenging levels and just destroy them.
Not very fair, but appealing.
We're not about fair here. We're about science. You do feel it's coming back? And
yeah.
The game was mind-blowing when it first came out.
I mean, it's a nice game. Probably not as... I think nowadays there are more... There means also of resolution, and this is 2D. Maybe there was a version of Sonic that was kind of 3D-ish, but not my favorite.
No, but this was, when this came out, this was the fastest game that had ever been seen. It's like, Mario was so slow with Sonic, it's blowing them out of the water. I don't know if you had this in Italy, but the Nintendo versus Sega warfare.
Yeah.
The battle.
Yeah.
Sega does what Nintendo don't, was the advertisement in the US. They were trying to be the sexy, like, cutting-edge game.
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that in middle school and high school you had You know, the kids that were only, here you go, the kids that were only playing with the Sega, the kids were only using Nintendo, some of this type of...
The factioning.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, you feel like you're settled in a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, so the first question we ask of any guest, and because the answer varies dramatically, and maybe most people don't realize this, especially our students who assume we've always known what we wanted to do with our lives, is, you know, what path led you to where you are today? 6-year-old Roberto was not envisioning playing Sonic on a Wednesday night while talking science about neurobiology of taste. So
No.
what steps got you to where you are today, and what major milestones do you distinctly remember?
Well, in order to arrive to play Sonic at your house on this day, well, back when I was in Italy, I decided to go to do a bachelor in pharmacy after high school. I mean, I liked scientific topic, but didn't have a clear preference. Did a bachelor in pharmacy, and in Italy, it's a little bit different in here. So you do a bachelor, and then 99% of the time you also need to do a master. So it's always a 3+2 type of degree. And I did my master in neuropsychobiology, which was studying always with a high chemistry base, how substance of abuse impact brain activity, right? So how it comes that cocaine hijack part of your brain and how it does so, which receptor in the brain does activate, which neurotransmitter, and so on and so forth. And that was my first introduction to neuroscience.
Was cocaine related?
It was drug abuse related.
That's amazing.
And I like it. I like it very much. And I remember at the time with Roberta, my girlfriend, my now wife, we decided to, because she did the same master, we decided to try to do a doctorate in neuroscience, and we ended up being in Geneva, in Switzerland. So we moved from Sardinia, Italy. Sardinia is the second main island on the Mediterranean Sea, but an island. So as Highlanders, we didn't move outside Sardinia much during our life. Then we decided to do our PhD in Geneva, where we end up studying olfaction of all senses. You had one of your recent guests,
Adam,
Dr. Dewan, on olfaction. I did my PhD in olfaction, and then after my PhD, I said, well, you know what? I kind of like it. I kind of like doing research, but I wanted to explore more, and I decided to apply for a grant in Switzerland to the Swiss NSF type of agency, and they gave me a grant to go and do a postdoc wherever I wanted, basically. And I just decide to go to a lab based on scientific reason rather than choosing a lab based on brand names. And I end up being in the middle of Long Island.
Nice.
From Geneva, not
transition.
Kind of transition in Stony Brook University, where I did my doctoral studies with an Italian, actually, Dr. Alfredo Fontanini, where I transitioned from olfaction to taste. And from there, then I was lucky enough to publish well, to get some additional grant from NIH, and then I started applying for faculty. And I applied to FSU and to other places. In 2017 and 2018, I was lucky enough to be offered a position here. And here I am, playing video games with you.
Like it. Is our stream not live? There we go. Fresh, sorry. So what's kind of amazing is you and Adam did the opposite switch. If I'm not mistaken, he did taste first and then switched to smell, and you started with smell and switched to taste.
I don't remember about Adam. I think Adam did something in Hawaii. Maybe with,
because he was initially interested in marine biology, so Hawaii was an obvious choice.
Well, but as probably Adam told you, those two modalities are like intimate related. So it's when you are interested in some scientific question pertaining smell and why do we smell, or if you are interested in a question about how are we able to perceive sweetness or how we are able to perceive that the food that we like actually tastes good. The two modalities are intimately related. Every time we put something in the mouth, like as a food or a beverage, we don't only perceive taste, which are the non-volatile chemical present in the food or the beverages, but we also perceive what we call retronasal olfaction, which is now volatile chemicals that reach our nose from the back of our mouth. And also, of course, somatosensation, like texture, the temperature of the food. And all together, they impact how we perceive food. So oftentimes, for a scientific reason, you decide to build your question mostly around olfaction or mostly around taste, but that's just the starting point. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so Adam, we talked about, various different mouse and rat models and things like that. Is there a strain of mouse / rat that has like no taste but smell, and then another one that has smell but no taste? Has that been engineered yet?
Yes, you could have. I mean, this guy's killing me on Sonic, by the way. Just dying all the time.
You can rage anytime you want.
Need to give me the power of infinite lives here. Currently, in my lab, we don't use any transgenic line of mice, but there are transgenic line of mice that can knock out, so remove all the important receptors that allow us to perceive taste, but leave intact all the receptors that allow us to perceive smell. For example, in that case, you might just, if you want to be sure that whatever you are studying and observing is smell related, here you go. And you can do the other way around, with the only problems that if you knock out all the receptors that allow you to smell, you're gonna become depressed. Because there is a tight relation between the pleasure that we can feel by smelling, and in animals it's even more complicated. So there are side effects by knocking out all the receptors that allow us to taste and all the receptors allow us to smell, to either focus on one or the other, but theoretically you can, if you really want. Or you can remove specific receptors. Like, for example, you can remove the receptor that allow you to smell a specific chemical class, the alcohol, or remove the receptor that allow you to detect only the sweet taste. Probably the fourth time this guy's killing.
It's the same way too. That's fine. You have infinite lives. You're gonna earn this.
Pretty good. Hopefully, there's not a lot of people watching.
We got 18 right now, so
Too many to see me
it's all your students.
dying
They're
all the
gonna give you
time.
such a hard time for your video game prowess. Has your kid started playing video games yet?
No. I mean, with a dad like me, it's
Yeah.
no, not yet. I thought of introducing my daughter to some video games. Here we go. I don't know. She might be watching with my wife, so probably she said, "Okay, I need to teach my dad.
Yeah.
Need to learn to teach my dad."
Sorry. Speaking of your wife, did you say her name was Roberta?
Roberta, yes.
Oh, Roberta and Roberto.
Yes.
Oh man, is that? I imagine there's many jokes that you've heard before.
Oh, absolutely. Especially since we come here, because in Italy it's pretty common
I see.
to have these two names.
What's the best joke / comment you've heard on that?
No, it's need
Getting you in the corner.
to change strategy. No, not joke, but it's everyone when we introduce ourselves, they look surprised, and we always make the same joke, because it's easy for us,
Yeah, and it's easy for them to remember. So
It's easy for them to remember, with the only caveat that my wife's names become 99% of the time Rebecca, not Roberta.
interesting. That's just how people remember it.
No, it's just how people hear. How many of the people here pronounce Roberta. They hear Roberta and they reply Rebecca.
Yeah, it's much more common. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not saying it makes sense, but
Yeah,
it's causal.
it does apparently.
All right. If you guys have any questions for Roberto, we're opening it up. Any questions you may have, you can ask about his video game prowess or his science expertise. We do not care. We're all about discussing anything and everything on this stream.
Let me kill this guy first.
Yeah, no, I think you got the strategy now.
No, come on, you see?
Yeah,
Just
it's good though. It had a rhythm. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, these old games don't have a whole lot of whole lot of AI intelligence. There's usually a pattern. You just keep playing over and over again until you find the pattern and you beat it. Which is kind of what we did when we got games back in the day.
But I thought I had the power. But no, you said it. I can have,
You know, God mode?
no,
You want another try?
not yet. I mean, we just started. That would be very sad.
We should do one of our predictions because you got a whole bunch of them, and I want to make sure we get through a lot of them. Which one?
You can, whatever you want to start.
This is a fun one, especially if you have a bunch of students in the audience. This is, I did not expect this one. I like the questions I don't know the answer to. Those are my favorite. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with Ask a Scientist Gaming, we stream on Twitch, and Twitch allows you to do something called predictions, which typically predictions are like asking questions about, will Roberto beat this boss in the next try, yes or no? And then you get imaginary internet points based on the outcome. On our stream, we use it for science-related questions. So my guests, before they come on stream, they come up with 5 to 7 or so questions, and then I ask those questions of the audience. So you guys get to bet your imaginary internet points, and our stream would call them standard internet units. Well, that's a good strategy, the corn. Like it. But yeah, we're going to pop up a question right now, and you're going to have 2 minutes to answer it, and I'll walk you through that. But there we go.
It
GG's.
just took me like 7 attempts.
You just needed focus. You know, talking about science. All right, so if you guys look at the top of your chat, you can see a button that says predict. Click that predict button, and we're going to have you answer the question. Can cats detect sweetness? True or false, or yes or no, I guess would be the better. I edited your questions down for count, but can cats detect sweetness, or cats can detect sweetness, true or false? Put your answers in there, and maybe it's easy, maybe it's not, but one thing to note is you guys are all on Ask a Scientist Gaming honor codes. So if you go to the right, you'll be able to finish the level. You guys can't Google the answer, can't ChatGPT the answer. We rely on you to find the answer, or know the answer, or make your best guess on what you know about Roberto and his opinions on cats. Whatever helps you answer this question. Note that when you click the predict button, you can gamble as many of those standard internet units as you want. So depending on your degree of confidence, you can bet more points or less points, which I thought was a really cool mechanism. I don't know if you heard that, but they can bet as many points as they want on either answer.
Okay.
So
Let's see what they got.
yeah, we'll see what they go after. Cats can detect sweetness. True or false? Are you a cat person or a dog person?
I have 3 cats. Well,
You still didn't answer the question. I like your 3 cats.
I thought I was a dog person because I always had dog growing up, but it was difficult to.
I'm sorry, you guys got about 15 seconds to put in the answer. Can cats detect sweetness? Yes or no? True or false? Put your answers in there now. If you're not following us, click the follow button. You'll get 300 standard internet units that you get to gamble accordingly. Somebody should do a dark horse bet because everyone right now is saying false. If you bet against that, you might have good odds, but it's totally up to you guys.
No, I was a dog person, but then once we start traveling and moving a lot, we realize, especially when we come here and doing the job we do,
dogs are a lot of time.
there's a lot of time and you don't give to the dog. Whereas the cats, especially if you have 3, they are a little bit more independent. And we do have 1 cat that looks like a dog, though. At least it behaves like a dog.
That's
I
amazing.
think that counts.
Close enough.
Here, I remember there were some problems.
Oh, look at that. I do not remember that part. KeoCat is a cat person, presumably. All right. So, Roberto, what's the answer? Can cats detect sweetness?
Nope.
Wow, everyone said no. Everyone said false on this one. Is this common knowledge? Because I didn't know this one going into it. It's something you talk about.
I don't know if it's common knowledge for everyone, but cats lack, they don't have in their DNA the gene to encode sweet receptors, which are the protein that allow taste buds of a cat actually to bind to sweet chemicals, like sugars, for instance, and then allow, of course, cats to perceive sweet. So cats are obligate carnivores, so they do have much better taste for umami, for example, which is the taste that allow you to recognize amino acid in nature, at least for animals. And they can also taste bitter, but not sweet.
That's interesting. Is there an evolutionary advantage in that?
Yes, because they are obligate carnivores, so their diet is mostly made of meat. So they don't have any advantage evolutionary to look food that are high in carbohydrates, because anyway, what they need is meat. At least in the nature, not in my house.
That's fair. They just get fat and lazy. Oh no, I think the cube has to go the other way. Maybe go to the right, see if you can...
Oh yes, of course, because I have to, you see?
Yeah, on the
You see?
platform.
You know, a PhD is not enough.
No, it's 2 PhDs. It's not enough.
I think I need to start again the level.
So try... if you
There is
go up
another
this way,
one?
Maybe it'll respawn. Like it'll forget where...
Oh, I will forget. I will say, okay, this guy is too not... Oh,
Yep.
oh, there it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Here you go.
respawn it.
Oh, the guys that code for Sonic were not that.
They didn't anticipate it.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like...
Cats do not taste. There are presumably genetic conditions for humans that they're born without taste? Does that happen?
Genetic condition with humans that are born without taste? Not that I am aware of. Like condition, like specific condition in which you're born without taste. There are situations in which taste perception might be altered in human. One of the most common one, even if it's a very sad one, it's through chemotherapy. So chemotherapy can alter the way certain taste buds respond to different tastes and alter completely taste perception. You start perceiving most of the food and most of the taste as metallic, which is not really a taste perception quality, but is something that we can relate to when we say, oh, it's something metallic, and many tastes will taste bitter. But there is not a specific condition that allow you to actually born without a specific palette of taste buds. Actually, yeah, I don't want to anticipate one of the prediction about the regeneration, but we might link. We can come back to this question later.
Yeah, that sounds good. So Vol 100 says only slightly able to taste sweetness. Apparently, they have receptors, but inadequate numbers of taste buds, perhaps. So they have the taste buds. It's just not a prevalent thing.
And no, I mean it's. I don't know where it took this information, but so taste buds are just structure within the bumps on our tongue that are called papillae, right? That we can actually even see. And that's you're talking about cats. They have this weird, very long filiform papillae that are very harsh. But within this papillae, these bumps on the tongue, we have this structure that are called taste buds. Okay. Each of these taste buds is like an onion. Right? You can take an onion and peel the onion of different layers. So you can take a taste bud and peel the taste bud from different taste cells. So within a taste bud, there are many taste cells. And each of the individual taste cells within a taste bud has a receptor for detecting different taste. So the problem of the cats that they don't have in the DNA the machinery that allow it to produce the receptor and put this receptor in the taste cells to allow the detection of sweet. Then there could be variation, but on average, if I can say that, even though it's not very scientific, they don't have the right receptor that allow them to perceive sweetness.
That makes sense. They don't have the genetic programming.
No.
That is interesting.
Poor cats.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Matt isn't a Robert. There's been a couple times when I eat wasabi peas and I can't taste anything the next day. Wonder what is happening there. Wow. You like saturate your taste buds or taste processing? What happens there?
I don't know exactly about his situation, but wasabi.
That's your problem. But in general.
I can speak directly to address the problem that you didn't taste anything the next day.
Yeah.
But wasabi is not a taste. I mean, it does not activate taste per se, but activate the trigeminal sensation. I don't want to go too much in the detail, but sensation like, for example, the red hot chili pepper, the spiciness from the red hot chili pepper, or the pungent wasabi sensation that goes back even in your nose, or like, for example, astringency that is made by tannins when we drink wine. Those are not those perceptions do not originate from classic gustatory pathway, but they are mostly somatosensory. So wasabi irritates so much our trigeminal nerve that normally carry information about touch, temperature, some even pain within our mouth, and that gave us this sensation of, no, it's not even a burning feeling. It's like a complete desensitization for a couple of seconds of your airways. But I don't know why you were not able then to taste the next day. I could tell you why you cannot taste the next day if you eat a very hot slice of pizza and you burn your taste bud. Then I can tell you why you cannot taste the next day and why you can taste again in a week or two, or even less than a week or two, in a week. But pertaining to wasabi,
but in that case, you're actually damaging the machinery.
In that case, you're damaging the taste bud itself. You're physically damaging the taste bud. But taste cells within our taste bud are few of our cells in our nervous system, even though here in this case we are in the periphery, that can regenerate in the adulthood. So there are like stem cell-like at the base of the taste bud that continuously regenerate and make new taste cells every 2 weeks. To avoid that, due to damage on the organ, like the tongue, we stop tasting. Imagine like if we just burn our tongue once, that's it. It's over.
No
We cannot
taste anymore.
That would be a miserable life.
Yeah. Also, not an evolutionary advantage, presumably.
Probably not.
Matt followed up. I couldn't taste minty gum. It was weird.
What you couldn't taste?
Minty gum.
Minty gum. Okay, so that is making sense because menthol, like capsaicin, is a chemical that activate the trigeminal system, not the taste. So the fact that you perceive coolness after eating menthol or mint chewing gum is because you're activating receptors that are part of the somatosensory system. Those are the one that you're probably damaging if you eat like a big chunk of wasabi pasta.
Ran out of time.
Yes, I'm sorry, Sonic. The question on the wasabi.
I'll point at this when you should keep playing. That's interesting though. It's not taste though. That's Matt followed up. It doesn't happen with wasabi when I eat sushi. Just the peas. So weird.
Wow.
Well, but wasabi, a lot of wasabi is not really wasabi, right? It's like horseradish.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not true wasabi, but it gives you this.
Give you this similar feeling though.
It's like the NutraSweet of wasabi.
It's the cheaper version of wasabi.
Not true wasabi. So that might be the difference, Matt, between the wasabi with sushi. It might not be real, or the peas might be. I don't know. That is intriguing. All right. Cute Nats, thank you for the follow. Thank you for joining us on Ask a Scientist Gaming. Our guest today, Dr. Roberto Vincis. Vincis? It's a chit pronunciation.
It's a chit.
I apologize. I went with cis when I introduced.
Oh, that's fine.
Probably happens.
It depends if you want to go the American way or the Italian way.
I will respect your wishes. Roberto Vincis is happy to answer questions about anything neurobiology of taste. Well, neurobiology in general. He's happy to discuss anything you guys would like to talk about, particularly things like flavor processing and real-time analysis of brain activity and things like that. Particularly your mouse models. Is that your primary?
Yes, that's correct. I passed the level.
Tone Jitake show. I thought real wasabi is a root. Yeah, it is, right? It's a root, but yeah, the cheaper version is to take like horseradish and use that instead of the actual root.
I think a Wool 100 gives a much better, scientific reason why cats cannot really taste sweet.
Oh, that's what's in the Wool 100. Thank you. Cats have part of the receptor TAS1R3 for sweet, which is also part of the receptor for glutamine/meat. Wondering whether the availability of the receptor dimerizing with another TAS could give cats a slight ability to detect concentrations of sweet. That's the weird thing about proteins, is you get proteins activities that are unique to combinations of proteins.
Yeah, because the sweet receptor I didn't want to go that much detail, but maybe I should, since this student they are really up to the game.
Sonic, it's fine. You gotta keep going.
the sweet receptor that work as dimer. And so there are one gene that is needed in your DNA to encode one part of the receptor, and another gene that are So if you lack one of the two, you have a receptor that does not work. But you see, if I speak science, I'm gonna die in Sonic. I cannot multitask.
It's fine. We have infinite lives. You're almost bulletproof. You're okay.
Sure, but it's the reputation that I'm damaging here.
Yeah, your students will no longer respect you. Going to work tomorrow and they'll be like, why should I listen to you about anything?
Right. There you go.
Matt isn't a robot. Did you guys already talk about MSG? No, we haven't. What do you want to talk about MSG? Do you have strong opinions about MSG?
No. It's monosodium glutamate. It's is the taste that lead to the perception of umami. This meaty type of savory perception, taste perception. It's the last taste quality that have been described. Because when you think about taste quality, right now we know that we can taste something sweet, and that's one taste quality. We know we can taste something salty, sour, with the acid, and bitter. Those taste quality are based on our human perception. So we define them. So all the chemicals that binding to our taste bud elicit a perception of sweetness.
Just want to point out the awesome casual platforming you just did. That was high pressure.
That was
no, that was nice.
I don't know.
Sorry for the distraction. I was amazed.
Right? I'm improving.
Yeah, that was great.
So all of the stimuli that elicit a given perception in us, in human, have been categorized being either sweet, salty, sour, and umami has been the last taste quality to join the crew in the 70s. When we realized that specific stimuli like glutamate, monosodium glutamate, and other amino acid bind to specific receptor in the taste bud, not the receptor that are important for sweet or for sour or for the other taste quality. And then we also realized with some psychophysical experiment in humans that you give some food and you ask, how does it taste like? That umami deserves its own category. Now, there are scientists even in our field that think that, for example, fat is another taste quality, but it's not. It still didn't get its degree as a proper taste quality because, for example, we don't have a specific receptor that can. Although we can perceive sometimes the oily taste. And the fatty taste of certain food, we don't have the receptors, a specific receptor that are being described to bind only to fatty acid molecule, for instance. And so then fat does not qualify as a taste quality. Some other researchers think that water is a taste quality in itself. But, but for the moment, we have this 5 taste quality, and umami is the last one.
So what's the formal, like, we demoted Pluto as a planet because it didn't meet the criteria of planet. What's the taste criteria that people accept? Like a unique receptor plus.
Yes, from a pure biological standpoint, you need to have a transduction mechanism. That means you need to that's what I have to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go up and then right back.
Let's go back. We're gonna stay here for a little bit.
That's fine. We got strats. Oh, and KyoCat says, can't wait to talk about Sonic strats at lab meeting. Are you ready for that discussion?
I'm looking forward for that. Yeah. Can see that there are some friendly people in the audience.
The progress report now.
So what I was saying? I was saying yes. So
taste criteria.
Yes, one of the most important one to define a taste as a taste stimulus is that we need to have a specific transduction pathway. So we need to show that specific chemicals bind to a specific receptor in the taste bud, and here we go.
Nice.
And that those receptors are not also the receptor that other taste quality use, and we need to discover the transduction pathway, which is the translation, right? So how taste cells in the taste bud take this chemical and transform this information into electrical activity. So we need to have that. Otherwise, you don't graduate as taste.
I see.
And then from a perception
pathway, it's not the receptor necessarily.
Well, the receptor is part of the transduction pathway.
I see.
And then there is the perceptual category, like behavior. So, for example, if I ask you, right, if I say now I have this fatty acid stimulus, and I think is a taste. I can ask you, do you taste this fatty acid stimulus different than the bitter, the sweet? And if there is any degree of overlap, that might not be a good indication that that's taste quality in itself, but is maybe part of another known category of taste.
Yeah. That's interesting. Tonja is how I'm going to pronounce that. I sometimes find it difficult to distinguish taste from mouthfeel, which is what you were alluding to earlier, though.
Yeah.
Feel plus temperature plus smell plus taste, it's all tied together.
Exactly.
And your job is really hard, is what that results in, presumably.
She's completely right. And in fact, we know. Oopsie. We normally call. In my lab, for example, when I talk with other scientists, I mean, it's easy to define ourselves as a taste researcher, but in reality, we don't study taste per se, exactly for the reason that the student point out. Because every time we eat a food or if we drink a beverage, the final perception that we perceive is this food good, is this food sour, is the food spicy, whatever. It's a complex integration of many sensory modalities, including all the sensory modalities that lead to mouthfeel, which is texture, touch, temperature, astringency, carbonation, plus the taste, which are non-volatile chemicals, plus olfaction. So normally, we call the integration of all this oral sensory modality, so the perception that arises from the integration of this oral sensory modality, flavor, which many people confound with taste. So taste is just one component of flavor. Mouthfeel is the other one, and smell is the other one. It's more complicated.
Yeah, it's a hard problem, which is why we like foods. Like it impacts our lives. So completely understandable. All right, it's Tanya. It's Dutch, the Tonja. So I learned pronunciation today. Thank you. All right, if you guys have any questions for Roberto, throw those in chat. Matt isn't a Robert. That name always screws with me, Matt. Thank you always for attending and for asking great questions. Do we know why some people think cilantro tastes like soap?
Oh, that's purely olfaction.
That's it? It's not actually taste?
No. It's because of a mutation on olfactory receptor that's allow you to perceive the aroma of cilantro. If you have a mutation on that receptor, you don't perceive the aroma of a cilantro-based food. Yeah. Because again, we just said that food is integration of many different sensory modalities. But for this specific case, it's the culprit is an olfactory receptor that doesn't encode properly the cilantro aroma, and it leads to this very, I would say, annoying probably sensation of soap in your mouth. But that's the smell. It's not taste.
So how does that work? If you eat anything while smelling cilantro, you'll perceive that soap feel, or you have to
think like that. Let's say that I'm done. Good. Nice. Now I can talk
for a minute.
Think about you're eating something that has some cilantro, right? Part of what you are when you're chewing the food. Now you are maybe tasting the non-volatile chemicals present in the food, but as soon as you're chewing, all the volatile molecules are going to be moved in your mouth, and some of them reach your nose via retronasal pathway. And all these volatile molecules, they need to find their olfactory receptor to then, combine, as Dr. DeWan said last time, probably, and, lead to the perception of smell. But in this case, it's the perception of smell that gives you the aroma of the food you are eating. In fact, for many food, if you're eating some food and you have food in your mouth and you close your nose, you're not going to perceive the complete palette of flavor because you're missing the olfactory component. And so for this specific question, as far as I remember, that's due to the fact that the cilantro receptor is altered or not functional as it should. Or you are combining cilantro with some other weird spice that might interject with other olfactory receptor. But it's not The thing that I'm 100% sure is not a taste problem.
That's interesting. So Vol 100 is added. Cilantro has saponins, which have a soapy feel to them, which might add to that experience. That is
I
interesting.
am not aware of what the saponins can do in terms of binding to some olfactory receptor, but might be
a
true.
texture thing.
But normally you don't perceive cilantro as soap. I hope so. That'll be.
Somebody needs to test it. I should have brought cilantro on screen.
That would be bad.
I
mean, I don't like cilantro. I prefer parsley, but maybe I have this mutation. You know, maybe.
I think you'd know, right? Like it's an extreme. Like it's pretty well documented, right? Matt is in Robert. I hate cilantro. I can taste everything, also, but the cilantro mixed with it ruins the other tastes. Which is that a subjective experience? Mm-hmm. Yes, I like it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, throw those in chat. I'll start with one talking about this. Have you heard of the magical fruit or miracle fruit? This it's a pill you basically take. You soak it on your tongue.
Yeah.
And if anyone hasn't had this before, it basically takes acidic foods. You'll take things like lemon juice, and it'll make it taste sweet.
So you can have a taste trip.
Yeah, exactly. And you've done this before? You've had the experience?
I didn't have the experience, but I can tell you why that happened.
Uh-huh.
So this fruit, which I don't remember the name, has a chemical in it, which is called, I think, miraculin, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's
And this miraculin is a glycoprotein. So it's basically a set of amino acid linked together with a carbohydrate at the end. And being a carbohydrate, like many sweet stimuli that are carbohydrate, like sugars, this miraculin can bind to the sweet receptor in our taste bud. Mm-hmm. However, if you just put miraculin in your mouth without any sour food, you don't taste anything.
Interesting.
Because this miraculin, even though binds to the sweet receptor, it can only activate this receptor in presence of protons, so in presence of acid environment. So as soon as you put the lemon in your mouth, now you start feeling sweet, mm-hmm. which is the taste trip you. Mm. And it can last even up to 1 or 2 hours. It's a pretty. So this miraculin has a good affinity to bind to the sweet receptor. But the funny thing is that it does not work unless there are protons, unless the pH is acid. In other words, right?
Then it activates.
Yeah.
Because there's some kind of protein structure change or something acid
Yes.
induced. Yeah. No, it's really cool. If you guys haven't tried it, looked it up. I put a link in there to Wikipedia, but search Amazon for miracle fruit. It's not particularly expensive. Like you can buy these pills and just set them on your tongue. There's Darth Morgs. I've had that and was able to basically drink hot sauce, which it makes hot sauce taste sweet. Which I'd be curious. Are you familiar with the YouTube show Hot Ones? Where they interview
I saw it a couple of times, yes, because
somebody needs to go on that and do some miracle fruit before it, because they won't taste it, they won't feel the burn at all. It'll just taste sweet.
Oh.
I'd be very curious. Ooh, nice veteran move. Misadventures, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. You're not always late. You're just on time. We still have 2 hours and 15 minutes left. Plenty of time for you to ask questions. Colorodon. I was close but incorrect about how miracle fruit worked. So I actually looked at, when we learned about this, we used to have like miracle fruit parties when I was a postdoc, where you just buy a bunch of those and then people would bring over stuff and taste it, like ketchup and hot sauce and lemons and limes. Pretty fun. I'd recommend giving
much
it a try.
healthier than other parties.
Well, then you try alcohol and you go from there. Take your favorite drink and see how it tastes with the miracle fruit. But yeah, I looked up a little bit on the history on this, and it turns out it's semi-controversial, because one of the arguments about so to make pills more digestible, or people more willing to take pills, they often add a sweetener to them. And one of the people that originally discovered this, had some structural derivative of this, was going to try to sell this as a means of doing that rather than adding sugar.
Yeah.
And so there's this huge sugar lobby group, because you had things like NutraSweet and stuff coming out, and they basically pushed back against this, and this never got FDA approval for that usage. And so all those sweeteners did get approved, but this didn't. And I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
No,
story.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, it was a bit controversial, but it was one of those things like, would we be better off now? Like, how much has NutraSweet completely screwed up our sugar balance and sugar processing versus had we gone with this mechanism of changing taste? I don't know.
Oh my.
Tonya, it's my bedtime. Love the stream. Take care, all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't followed, click the follow button. You'll get notifications about future streams. That's for everyone that's in the stream right now. Follow us. You'll get notifications every other Wednesday night. We have a different guest on, so yeah, you can talk all sorts of different science. Last week we had a law professor on that studies health law, which is kind of interesting. That was stuff I hadn't heard about before. Look at that. First try. Well done.
The muscle memory is coming back.
And then the reflex is back. Knowledge. There we go. Thank you, Tanya. Enjoy your night. Yeah, hopefully he'll be in class tomorrow and give Roberto a hard time about his Sonic gameplay. I don't know. You first tried that, boss. We'll put that in the highlight reel.
All right.
Are you good, or you need another one?
I'm still good.
Also, let me know if you want to change games or you're having fun with this one. It's totally up to you.
I don't remember what level 4 is. Let me have a look. Oh, the spring yard zone.
That's a good one.
Ah,
Does this one have casino? I know the second one does.
with the flipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First try. Well, we got to put God mode on before we quit playing, too. We just march through everyone. Madison and Robert is inverting one of our original discussion or one of our predictions. Are there animals that can taste things we can't? My guess is yes.
Are the animals that can taste things we can't? And your guess is yes? No, actually. There are animals that cannot taste things we taste, like cats. There are animals that... I remember that here I can stay forever, right? There are animals that taste with different organs than the tongue.
Oh,
Like some fish, like the octopus, for example.
uh-huh.
One of the funny things of the octopus that 2/3 of its neurons are on the... How do you call it?
Tentacles.
The
yeah.
tentacles.
Yeah.
2/3 of the entire neurons. And the octopus can do a lot of things with the tentacles, including taste. And it tastes by touch. But he has all the receptor taste. Now, if he perceive it, that's a different thing. I don't think that anyone has ever tried to do some behavioral experiments in octopus, and that's why we can only speculate based on the receptor profile for certain animals. But for example, rodents and primates, they can taste what we can taste, and they have a reaction to some of the food we taste that are very similar to us. Like for example, the reaction of a baby to a slice of lemon, which is what we call gate, right? So you have the inverted smiley face because you're trying to remove all the disgusting lemon drops from your mouth. Is the same reaction a rat or a mouse has if you give him a high concentration of a sour or a bitter stimulus. It's disgust. It's like something disgust. It's the reaction like, I don't want to consume that. Then we discussed before about cats that for reason related to the receptor cannot perceive taste. But I would say that maybe the best answer will be, as far as we know, for the animal we tested, except cats, and we tested with some behavior, they can all taste what the same stimuli we taste. With individual differences like we have, and with different degrees of experience, because taste perception might slightly change due to our experience, our familiarity with certain foods, but overall they can taste.
You can tell they're tasting something.
Yeah. I mean, then there are some if you look, sometimes you can read that dogs can taste water. They can't really taste water. They don't have the receptor like some osmoreceptor in their tongue that are there to detect water, but through their sense of smell, because it's very good, they can recognize where source of waters are located. And especially after they eat, they have a heightened sense of smell to detect water, but that's different than they can taste water.
So when you're talking about tasting, this is vertebrates or just any animal that's been tested?
Yes, I mean, even invertebrate have been tested, and invertebrate, they can even taste. I'm not saying that they can taste more taste quality, but for example, in some invertebrate, there are way more chemical alkaloids compound that elicit a bitter sensation based on the basic behavior we can observe in those animals that we don't. For example, some of their stimuli that don't elicit any bitter sensation in us, but the quality as bitter is there even.
I see. So the spectrum of the 5 tastes are similar across the board, but what triggers that can vary depending on the species.
Can be different.
Oh, that's interesting. Because you're defining taste as that process after ingestion.
Yes.
Getting in your mouth. That's interesting.
Let me see where I have to go here.
And so, I think it's if you go down.
I have to go down, right?
So speaking of that, I mean, it's a shared path through the animal kingdom. But one thing I asked Adam is we know that vision has independently evolved several times. And as far as he knows, smell, not necessarily independently evolved. Do we know anything about taste? Whether that has independently evolved several times or not?
No, we don't know anything about the evolution of taste. I mean, we know, but one of the reasons is that if you think about just the research on sensory system, which is like the scientists that study how vision works, how audition works, right? Vision there have been way more money invested in vision because it's a sense that is very important for us as humans. So we navigate our world mostly based on our visual cues, right? So for olfaction and especially taste, we are not there yet.
So the understanding just isn't there.
Yes. One of the things that we think is evolutionary conserved pertaining to taste experience, if you want, is a phenomenon that we call taste neophobia, which is not necessarily specific to taste itself, but is neophobia means the fear of the new, fear of something new, right? New phobia, fear. Normally, we don't like to try food that we don't know.
Yeah.
And evolutionary, this has a clear advantage because back in the days there were many less food option available compared to nowadays, and you wanted to be sure not to get poisoned or die by a food that you didn't know, like some plants or some. So and we know that this taste nophobia stayed up to these days because if you look at especially in young children,
it's a battle.
It's a battle. But apart from that, I mean, in terms of evolution from a receptor point of view and how maybe a receptor mutated in different species, no, we are not there yet. Taste compared to vision is like the little brother of the sensory modalities.
Well, the other thing Adam talked about a bunch is just the complexity of it. Because like when we talked about, somebody asked about adding the sense of smell to like a VR experience, right? Where you put on the goggles and then you feed a smell. You would need a chamber of 1,000 tanks with different smells to recreate even like walking to the ocean.
Yes.
And taste is the same. The vision is just like pick a wavelength and it's easy to simulate. So that makes perfect sense.
I think that Adam is right, and for all chemical senses is the same, right? So if you think about vision or audition, so you have a limited range of stimuli that you're capable of detecting, right? In case of wavelength for the visual system or sound frequencies, right? We're not like dolphins, for example, that they can perceive sound frequencies that are very high. So we have a limited range. But for chemicals, the sky is the limit, right? The chemical world is it's huge. So it's very complex. Yes.
Not only that, the other one that blows my mind is the chirality, left-handed versus right-handed molecules smelling and tasting completely different.
Especially for smell. I don't know for taste because I don't think we ever try. But for olfaction, I remember that's crazy. Depending on the
just handedness. So those of you not familiar, you can have molecules that have the same composition, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, but they have a slight different organization in space. They're basically mirror images of each other. And we call those chiral molecules, where one is left-handed and one is right-handed. And your biology has a handedness. And so your sensors have a handedness. And then has weird implications like smelling like lemon versus orange and stuff like that. It's the same molecule with a different handedness. Which is crazy that works at all.
Sadly. Look at those
Keocat.
guys.
When I was a kid, I got Sonic, the restaurant, not the hedgehog, Happy Meal, and the toy included a map of the taste areas of the tongue. Care to share about this misconception? And ruining your predictions.
Oh my.
What do you
Who
want?
is ruining the show? Keocat?
Keocat.
Okay, I know with who to
So
talk
much
tomorrow.
time writing up this. Oh man, because I would deliver this, but now they know the answer. It's like, what do you do?
Well, you can still deliver it, and then, no, maybe not. Let's
they
skip
said,
it.
would you like to talk about this misconception? Spoilers. Marilora, thank you for the follow. Andrea one, thank you for the follow. Thank you for joining us on Ask a Scientist Gaming. If you guys have questions, throw those in chat. We are going to get to them. Even if we don't get to them right away, I keep a list of them so we can go back and revisit these questions at any time. So yeah, if you guys want to know anything about the neurobiology of taste or neurobiology in general, studying brain activity, brain processing, reward systems, feel free to throw those questions in chat. We are happy to discuss them while we play a little bit of Sonic. How's it going? You feeling better about your Sonic?
Well,
gameplay?
this level is tricky. I don't remember where I should go and what I should do.
Yeah, that's half the battle in these original.
But,
You basically have to memorize the levels, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time.
we don't lose faith.
Yeah, exactly. We're here to game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And your student's giving you a hard time. It's one thing to play a game you haven't played in 30 years. It's another thing to play that game while talking science about your expertise. It is a challenging thing. You should make them do that at the next group meeting. Like, set up a game with them. Yep, one after another. They can prove their
That might
prowess.
be pretty good, though.
They'll see how hard it is.
Well, I mean, it's definitely hard to multitask, but hey, that's also fun.
Yeah,
There you go.
we do our
That
best.
once again.
I can't believe the restaurant and Sega haven't done a brand deal. I'm sure it's because they don't want to have their brands associated. But yeah, care to share about the misconceptions of what was it described as? Map taste areas of the tongue. Where did that come from, and is there any basis in reality?
Well, I think that we already cleared it up that is a misconception, but what is it is that for a long time, and I can tell you why we did that, we thought that different tastes are perceived in different areas of our tongue. Like, for example, we thought we perceived sweet from the tip of the tongue, salty from the side, bitter from the back, right? So we thought that there was a kind of a taste map in the tongue, right? A chemotopic taste map, if you want. The reality is that it's not true at all. And the reason why it was this misconception is because the original study was a study from a German guy from 1901. Back in the days where German was the scientific language of choice, then some problem.
Problem.
There was,
The European frame that discussion.
we skipped the history part here.
Then something happens, bad stuff. We're good.
Something happened, we changed to English. But then when during the translation of this study from German to English, part of the tongue that were deemed as not as super sensitive to one taste stimuli were deemed as insensitive. So we then, from the translation, we had this paper that was telling us the opposite of what actually was telling. That is, there is a map on the tongue. Your tip of the tongue is there to sense as sweet, the back for bitter, the sides for salty. But that's not true at all. Actually, taste buds that can contain taste cells to detect every taste modality are present everywhere. There are very, 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 very minor differences, topographically speaking, but they are minor. They're like they don't make up for a clear tongue map, if you want. So,
I mean, so the original paper was right. It was the translation that screwed up the.
yeah, the original paper was right, absolutely. In the sense that, I mean, it was a very basic paper. The only thing you can do back then was to try to probe and ask different people by putting specific, very small amount of stimuli in different part of the tongue, with all, of course, the caveat that every scientific study has, even nowadays, right? But the translation was complete, but this misconception stays for a long time.
Yeah, it's
and
still
that,
around.
that tells you about how important is communicating science, and how important it is to be critical with the science when you read it, and not just to trust everything, but go down to the source, analyze the source properly. But that's okay. I mean, that's fortunately was not as impactful as other misconceptions.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
right?
of the spectrum of misconceptions,
Yeah.
it's not like vaccines cause autism type.
Yeah,
damage,
no,
right?
no,
It's,
no,
it's
no,
just an annoyance to your community.
Likely not. You know, it's
That's crazy, though. I did not know that was it. Didn't the language secretly switch to Portuguese? What?
I missed that transition.
I've not been there. Interestingly, I'm going to Portugal this summer actually for a conference, so
Well, you can ask
double
them.
check. I'll ask them about tongue maps and translate it into Portuguese. Let's see what we can. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know it was a translation error. That may be one of my new literature factoids, actually. 'Cause that's pretty.
Yeah,
amazing.
translation that leads to a misinterpretation of actually a figure.
Yeah. I mean, so one of the standard questions I ask guests on stream is what common misconception propagates through your field? What's the anti-vax / flat Earth equivalent? Is that your answer? That's the one, or is that another misconception?
That's a big one, I would say, because that impacted for a long time even the way you were actually thinking about the taste system beyond the tongue, because then information on the tongue is routed to the other different brain areas, is organized. Because if you have a very strict topographical organization from the tongue, you expect or you predict that this strict topographical organization map also in other part of the brain. Let's say that you arrive at the cortex, which is the outer part of your brain, and also there you find this very strict topographical map. And surprisingly enough, if you ask me about another, how do you call it, this type of misconception, like the COVID things?
Yeah, I just called it a misconception.
Oh, yeah.
Like an anti-vax.
Yeah, the anti-vax.
/
There
flat Earth.
There is still one to these days that is somehow related to the tongue taste map, and there is which is less of a misconception, but still a problem, is that let's say that there are 10 groups in the entire world that study how taste is processed in different parts of the brain. There is only one group that say that in the cortex you have this very strict topographical map, but only one part of the cortex is there only to allow you to perceive sweet, and the other one allow you to perceive bitter. But the other 9 groups said, no, we don't see that. And there is this kind of push and pull, which is, for our audience, is like a silly debate. And I if you use that term, I do agree with you. But you always have to consider it when you write your manuscript, when you think about science. You always have to consider the other research,
Depending who the reviewers are. Yeah.
Yes, and it's less. The reason is less. The tongue map was clearly a translation error. It's pretty easy to go back at the source. This one in the cortex is, it's a little bit more problematic to explain. In a layman's terms.
Whoa,
But
that guy came out of nowhere.
yeah, that probably is the PI of the lab.
Just snuck right in there. Didn't have time to close my browser, pretend I'm working.
But apart from that, no, there are no very clear.
Look at that, another level down.
The level down.
All right, so we're an hour in. You've been playing Sonic for an hour. Does it feel like an hour?
My brain is back into a games mode.
Yeah, that's it. Just one more game. Just one more life. One more round.
Yeah. Before we move to the car.
Yeah, no, you can do whatever. We can do God mode too if you want.
The God mode seems a little bit too much, no?
It's up to you. We got nothing to lose.
I'm starting to be cocky, right?
Yeah.
It looks like I'm doing pretty well. I don't need
the
to.
God mode already. I think you should at least beat this boss. For sure, we should try that. But if you're having fun with it, let's keep doing it. I don't care.
Well, as far as I'm able to still answer questions while I'm playing, that's fine.
Yeah, this taste map is an interesting one. Like, I knew that was debunked, but I didn't know the origins of it, which Man, it's one of those things, if the newspaper picks it up before it can be debunked by the actual research community, it goes bad.
But I mean, I need to ask my human physiology student back, especially the one that did MCAD exam recently. I think this question was present in some of the recent MCAD exam, and it was with the wrong answer though.
Wow, like the tongue map being a real thing.
Yeah.
Holy
I mean, not like asking the question like that. Is the tongue map a real thing? But something that required the answer being different tastes that are mapped in different parts of the tongue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is still propagated. That's crazy. Somebody needs to write an angry letter. In this YouTube video. The MCAT. Wow. Physiology students take
or like
that.
someone need to send them a German dictionary or something like that.
the translation. I'm going to look that up because I'm sure somebody has done like the correct translation and pointed out why it's
I
wrong.
was trying to find the original paper, that is from 1901. It's pretty difficult to find the entire,
Yeah.
It's not even, I can call it like, you can transform it in a PDF, but what could it be? It could be just like, how were the writing papers back in 1901? Like,
Yeah.
the stylographic pen?
I think they were still typing them like, typewriter. And then they'd have to draw them by hand or do drawings by hand. Oh, that was fast.
Oh, I remembered. Oh, now now I'm speeding up. Oh my.
Got mode.
I remember this music was giving me anxiety, when you had the speed mode, like you have to go fast.
Do you remember the underwater levels?
Oh, when you had to, what?
There we go. You nailed it. I like it.
I think it might
Flat
be
taste.
nice.
The
Oh, the
secret
flat
big
taste.
tongue
Who
doesn't
said
want you to
that?
know. Misadventures in Astro.
It's a nice one.
Man, I like it. That is my new favorite factoid. All right. 906. If you guys have any questions, you want to throw them in chat, please do so. Roberto Vincis is happy to answer questions. Neurobiology of taste, taste processing. We just discussed the debunking of the taste map of the tongue, which a lot of us did in high school. Like that's an exercise you do or a lab. You just taste things on different regions, but that is completely made up. Man, that's a brutal section.
You know what isn't completely made up, and going back to that question, then I promise we can move over.
It's up to you.
Is that we are talking about taste there, but going back to one of the question before about mouthfeel, astringency, it's on the side of the tongue. Like the feel when you drink a glass of red wine, that is high in tannins, for example, and you have this like the feeling that your tongue is shrinking. That is the map, especially on the side of the tongue.
Oh wow.
But that's not taste.
Not taste, it's texture based or mechano.
Yes, it's mostly touch.
That is intriguing. Unforgiving section. I'm gonna give you some time. Oh, nice.
Go back again.
With 0 rings. With 0 rings too. That's brutal. we'll hook you that one.
I don't like that guy, but I don't think I'm gonna
this section again.
Yeah, I think it's either you give me the gold mode, or I'm gonna have to fight the guy with 0 rings.
If you stand still on top, I'll give you some gun. All right, are you ready? I don't know if it's going to work on the boss, but we're going to try it.
I didn't have a gold mode level when I was growing up.
No,
I should.
Did you know about Game Genie or Game Shark? Oh no, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work
against him.
It doesn't work?
Not against him. It only works against the normal players, I guess.
Oh, that's too bad. Come on, come down. It doesn't come down to.
You probably have to hit him once.
Okay. Here you go.
Maybe twice.
Really asking. Oh man.
Watch it for the holes.
I don't.
Oh, stay alive.
Stay alive.
Oh, there you go.
Like the ABBA song.
Staying alive.
Okay.
That is awesome. Congratulations. All right. Keep playing, or you want to play something else?
Well, now you put back in my memory the. Let's see if the next level is
God mode?
the what? No, it's the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Let me just die on this level.
You want to hear the sound effect?
Yeah.
You want to hear the... When we were young, this was the most horrible sound you'd ever hear in any game ever.
Yeah, talking about auditory stimuli.
Traumatic PTSD from childhood gaming. This is the level. This level is my hard stop.
Yeah, probably mine too. I remember. You see, that's what the sound we were talking about.
When the music speeds up when you're dying, that is the fuel of nightmares right there, ladies and gentlemen. But if you guys want to distract Roberto while he's playing one of the hardest
that's the goal.
game, now's the time. You can make him suffer. As students, either in his group or in his class, now is the time to exact your revenge on your PI/teacher. But on the plus side, you will not die to any of these guys if you're in God mode, hopefully.
Okay, but I can still die maybe because I
you can drown.
don't have oxygen.
And I think spikes still kill you.
Well, I mean, this God mode has this bug. Yeah? What type of God are we using here?
One that can't breathe underwater. So speaking of water, one thing we talked about with Adam was, it gets really challenging to differentiate smell and taste with water. And so is that like a shark? Do they smell blood or do they taste blood?
Can you repeat with water?
Like when it's in water. So if you think
okay.
about airborne, you can differentiate, right, from something actually settling on the tongue versus being in the nasal cavity, for example. But in water, that all goes to shit, right? Like there's no differentiation.
Yeah, I can tell you that for sure. It's more a problem for olfaction. For taste, most of the here you go, the music we were talking about.
Bubble. Come on, Bubble. Oh, nice. There you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Ventures has it right. This is demigod mode. I incorrectly described it. I don't think the spikes are hurting you, are they? No, they're not.
No, maybe, It's... Oh, no! I should
You're okay.
go on the elevator. Yeah, I think it's a more of a problem for olfaction because... Oh, no. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
See that coming.
Because in that case, yes, you render something that is supposed to be volatile, non-volatile. But for taste, actually, when we study taste, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time we use taste in liquid form. So we dilute specific chemicals in deionized water, so water that has no minerals or ions. So for us, it's actually good. And by the way, in normal life, the things that happen, even talking about food, right? Not beverages, because for beverage, maybe the link is straightforward. When you put food in your mouth, it gets mixed up with saliva. And that's how then taste bud can detect it. So every non-volatile chemical is in a watery environment in our mouth due to the saliva, which is another important component of taste experience that we often ignore because it's very difficult to study. There's only one scientist in the University of Buffalo that is studying the role of the saliva protein on taste perception and how taste might impact differentiation of saliva proteins. It's very complicated. But anyway, just to go back to your question, it's a problem for Adam, not for me.
But like say for a shark, blood versus, is that a smell process or is that a taste process?
For a shark, it's a good question. I have no idea. Do you know any shark we can ask?
I don't know.
This I don't know.
Is there any sharks in chat?
Taste processing for fish is a little bit different than us. For example, as I told you about before, the octopus, catfish can also taste from the whisker. So it's possible that there are other ways through which taste chemicals can be detected by a shark. On the skin, for example. Oh man, I'm sorry. Just like, there we go.
That'll be perfect.
But now I don't know where I have to go. Let's try it down. Yeah, I remember there were some. Here we go. The currents.
Yeah.
Okay, this I'm gonna get like.
Oh, you're good. You got bubbles.
I think it's I need another beer. That's gonna be my oxygen bubble now.
Hour and a half gaming is taking it out of you. You can hear the music escalating. All right.
This game is really bringing back memories.
Good or bad memories?
Oh, good. I mean, very happy memories.
Lori, welcome to the stream. What's the drink of choice? Our drink of choice tonight is we're going with a local beer, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing Proof. This is actually the premium lager. You guys want to see right there, Proof premium lager. Yeah, Roberto said you wanted a local lager or IPA. This was the first one I came across at the grocery store, so which is a great one. I really like Proof lager. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you guys have a drink in hand. Cheers to everyone that's joining us on stream. If you guys have science questions, we're happy to answer them while we drink and play video games. Oh no, squish.
Yes, you know, it's either drink or play.
KeoCat, 0.3 molar sucrose beverage. Do you taste any of your samples off the record?
Well, sometimes we do, and we should make sure we are not doing chemistry wrong.
Yeah.
If what we think is a sucrose tastes like sour.
Well, but yours is like chemical grade sucrose.
Yes,
like pure
yes,
sugar.
yes,
like
yes,
most
yes,
of what
yes,
we buy in
yes.
the grocery store is not going to be that. Right?
Well, in research, due to many good reason, we need to use chemicals that are pure.
Yeah.
They're tested, that are devoid of any type of contaminants.
Does it shock you when you do pure sucrose versus the crap we get, regularly?
No, I don't know. I don't taste them. I was joking. But in theory, when I was a postdoc, I did when we were trying to do an experiment with different bitter. And there are different alkaloids, right, that taste very, very bitter. And one of them is called cyclohexamide. And at a very, very low concentration, we're talking micromolar range, it just destroys your mouth. You mean you can't taste anything anymore for the entire day?
Wow.
Yes, and we were like, postdoc and graduate student. We were just like, yeah, let's see if that actually is true.
Yeah.
Yes, and that,
It's true.
true indeed.
Holy crap.
But for sweet stimulant, no, I never taste them out.
Fun factoid for you guys. NutraSweet was actually an accidental discovery. If you're familiar with the story. It was the late 1800s, and I don't know what they were trying to make in lab, but like they accidentally tasted their fingers, and their fingers tasted sweet, and they're like, "Oh, this is interesting. This could be used as an artificial sweetener." And then during World War I, it took over as a means of making food sweet and in a less expensive way. So yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
accidental taste of fingers. It's kind of fun. Darth Morgs, no quinine. You guys do quinine?
No, we taste the cyclohexamide with respect to quinine and sucrose octacetate, which is another bitter chemical, even though it has a sucrose part of it, but the octacetate will component render it bitter. So yeah, we tested. We use the concentration we're normally use in an experimental setting and see is it really as bitter as that's been described by other people. And yes, quinine was a breeze, a walk in the park compared to cyclohexamide. And quinine is pretty bitter.
Yeah.
As the name quinine.
Fun factoid, quinine also glows under a UV lamp. So you can make it glow blue, which is kind of fun. You can have a blue glowy solution.
Is it
to drink.
true?
Yeah. Yeah. UV lamp will make it glow blue. Don't go too high. Whoop.
Yes, but I don't remember, because if I do this, I'm gonna bang my... Oh, you see? I'm gonna bang my head all the time. But I don't remember how to pass this. When I was young, I had a way more patience now, knowing that... Oh, maybe I did it now.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
you
I
opened
opened something.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that I can change game.
it. Do you want to change games? We have...
now the moment of disappointment passed.
Oh, spikes don't hurt you. That's nice. Demigod mode. Sure, you can drown, but you're not going to get spiked.
Okay, I need some oxygen.
Oh no, that might have been it.
All right.
No, that one did. All right, so we got Golden Axe, NHL 92, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Gran Turismo. What do you want to do?
Have you ever let the chat choose among this
Oh
thing?
man, I have not. What are you guys interested in? Golden Axe for Sega, NHL Hockey 92 hockey game, obviously, and then Gran Turismo, which is a racing game. So anyone has strong opinions, put them in chat right
Probably
now.
not.
Like, maybe somebody's super excited by some racing or Personally, I'd like to see hockey. We don't do enough hockey on stream. Have you ever played Mutant League Hockey? Have you ever heard of this game?
No.
It's for the Sega. Oh, jump. Nice.
No,
Mutant League Hockey is like I don't know if you remember NBA Jam, the like super cartoonish basketball game. Misadventures. I'm just here for NARC.
I gotta wait.
Your NARC gameplay already. It's coming. Don't worry, Misadventures. Stick around at about 10:30. We'll switch over to NARC. Well, then we will play whatever Roberto wants to play. And if you
I
guys
can
have
go with okay if you want to. Ooh, oh, this I remember. This guy was not good.
I ran out of torso though. Or appendages.
Yeah, we can go with okay if you want, but can we play like together or one against each other, or it's gonna be just me?
Just primarily you. I'll keep
punching
checking
people.
Chat. Yes. Dude, get in a fight in the trap. It took Roberto about 6 seconds to get in a fight when we tested hockey before we started the stream.
Yeah, that tells you a lot about my character.
Yeah, it's up to you. You want to do NHL?
Yeah, let's go.
Throw it on.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to transition over. We don't do a lot of sports games on stream. I'm a little surprised. We just don't do that many. So I'm going to change the title NHL 92.
It's weird here to pick, but yeah.
I think it's the first one. Isn't this the one you said? Because I played NHL PA 93. It's the one.
No, let's not do. What was the difference between regular season? Where was Lemieux playing in the Penguins at the time?
Let me see.
I'm asking
with
probably
Boston?
too much. Is there anyone that knows?
Yeah, Mario Lemieux.
Is this the right?
92. Yeah, it should be. Is that not doing anything? Yeah.
Can't lose up. Well, anyway.
All right, we'll see how that does. Yeah, Penguins. 92-93 season, he was with the Penguins.
I was a strong player, at least based on my memories of this game.
So that was
So
your
you say
go-to player.
BSC. Oops. Oh my.
Tied with Gretzky.
And we score.
The cancer return in retirement. I don't know about the cancer. That's interesting. Played for the New York Islanders. Against the New York Islanders. Okay.
We're beating
Alright.
them.
It's working okay, or is it?
Yeah. Was also able to score, which is a miracle.
So this is back when the North Stars were in Minnesota. So I'm a Minnesota native. North Stars make sense when you're in Minnesota and you can see, Northern Lights and whatnot. Then they moved to Dallas and became the Stars. I'm not bitter. It's fine. All right. Lori has requested a factoid. Roberto, what do you have for factoid while you play some hockey?
Oh, while I play some hockey. My. It has to be a factoid or like a factoid / prediction that we engage the audience. Can be both.
We usually do factoids independently.
Okay. So a factoid, many of us known is the ice cream effect. That means sometimes we can taste an ice cream sweeter if we let it cool it down. If you let it warm it up, if it's melting a little bit, right? And that's because of the interaction between taste and temperature in this case, right? We always said, even before, that taste is it's just one component of the oral sensory modality that allow us to perceive what we eat. And in this case, taste and temperature operate in such a way that sweet stimuli are perceived sweeter at warmer temperature. And that's something we are studying in terms of neural mechanism in the lab.
Is that a universal thing or mostly universal?
Yeah, it's well, there is always a level of familiarity experience in everything that revolve around taste and flavor perception, but it's pretty well known and we know also why that happened at the level of the periphery, that warm temperature enhance sweet perception. In other words, have you ever tried to eat a piece of chocolate that you left in the fridge and take a bite of chocolate out of the fridge? It doesn't taste as sweet as if you let the chocolate stay out of the fridge for a little bit. That's the ice cream effect, even though I have used a chocolate example also. I don't know if that works as factoid, but
And that's not fully understood then.
it's part of it is fully understood. What is still not fully understood is what are the neural mechanism of the level of the brain, not at the periphery, that allows for this enhancement of sweetness due to warm temperature. At the level of the periphery, there are some mechanisms. Periphery means the tongue. The level of the tongue, there are some mechanisms that partially explain it, and I can go into details if you want, but I don't know if it's necessary. But that was my factoid while I play okay.
Yeah.
By the way, there's still 1-0.
So Laurie said, weird, my husband prefers chocolates in the freezer.
But I mentioned that, flavor experience, it's oftentimes very experience dependent. Each of us has his own preference. But like, for example, like just to answer the question, you might also perceive something sweet not too good if you, for example, become ill after eating something that you really like. So from a chemical standpoint, you're still eating something sweet, but your perception change, right? So most of the time, sweet perception is enhanced by warm temperature. Now, if, for example, if you don't have a sweet tooth, like if you don't like too much sweet to start with, you might not feel the difference of the impact of temperature on sweet taste that much. For example.
0-0. Period 2.
No, what?
Power play penalties here? Oh, you got one. Never mind.
Go one.
I missed the
that was the most
1-0.
important.
I apologize. Everyone, we have a goal, ladies and gentlemen. EA Sports. So have you played any of the modern hockey games? You tried any of the...
No. I mean,
with PlayStation, did you?
No.
Those?
PlayStation. The only experience I had with PlayStation was when I was doing my bachelor. And for a little bit, I lived with a friend of mine, and we were playing Gran Turismo, one against each other. But I never had a PlayStation myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was not. Don't ask me why.
No worries. There's still time. As soon as your kid gets old enough, you're going to get introduced to a lot of games, no doubt.
Okay. It's true.
It'll be a next generation VR, like submersive.
Now it's getting crazy.
I haven't dove into the VR world yet, but I'm intrigued. All right, Matt isn't a robot, or Matt isn't a Robert. Is that why butter doesn't taste like anything till it's melted? Is that true? I've never thought about it.
Well, now we are entering we are going back to the fat not being a taste quality. Oftentimes, certain type of butter are spiked with certain aroma, right? So that renders things a little bit more complicated. But also, in that case, is also the texture of the butter that change as a function of temperature that impacts our mouthfeel perception of it. So it's not only about taste. I think that's the goal of this discussion, is to make sure that everybody understands that our perception of food is not only about taste.
Yeah, that is the major take-home of the evening. Well, so that's one of our other questions we'd like to ask, is if you had a microphone and everyone on Earth could hear you say, a couple sentences debunking something or spreading knowledge about your expertise.
No, man, that's a difficult one.
The tongue map is bullshit. Is that the sentence you utter, or
that could be a good one, though?
Yeah,
like exactly as you say it, very loud. Yeah. That I will not have any problem saying it. I might have a problem saying something else.
Yeah.
That maybe it's less debunked, but still controversial. But the taste map, yes.
Yeah. Because the other one you could be wrong, right? But the taste map as well.
Taste map is pretty pretty accepted now. I mean, there's nothing to accept.
Yeah.
Just have to learn German. Yeah. We know the
Translate the
truth.
language better. All right. We better do another one of the predictions. Let's do, how about food aversion? Because we're kind of touching on this one. Particularly Miss Adventure said, no longer enjoying specific taste after feeling ill, question mark. Alcohol has entered the chat.
Yeah,
So that's food and
very right.
aversion.
Very right about it. It's the same mechanism, right? So that means there is a very well-known psychological phenomenon that's called conditioned taste aversion. Taste aversion means you start to dislike a taste. What is the conditioned part? Normally, let's say that you have your favorite food. I don't know. Everybody can think of its favorite food or alcohol, like, and let's say that you either eat too much of this food and you get ill after eating, or you get ill independent of what you eat, but just after you eat your favorite food. Now, the next time you experience that food, you will find it aversive and you will try to avoid it because of the condition that has been associated, like the illness, with the taste. So that's a very important and well-described phenomenon that also speak about how plastic is our brain. Because the way our brain integrates information about the food that you liked before change as a function of experience, and now you perceive it. So neural connection change, thanks to the fact that our brain is plastic, and now you perceive it as aversive, and you avoid it.
So that's the terminology is called food aversion then. That's what
psychological is called conditioned taste aversion, but you can call it food aversion.
Yeah.
You can recover from it. With time, by reintroducing smaller and smaller quantity of the food that made you ill, and experience the fact that you are not getting ill again. So over time, you can increase the amount so that you go under what we call extinction. So you extinguish your version that was conditioned to the illness. You score.
That killed another one of our predictions. Food aversion due to illness can be reversed.
Yeah,
We're covering all of it. No worries. I had one of those stories from when I was a kid. So like we grew up kind of poor, right? So like our food options weren't a lot. So when we got chocolate milk, like the jug of chocolate milk, it was a special thing. And one time my brother drank like the rest of it, and I was super pissed. My parents were like first come first serve kind of scenario. So the next time we got chocolate milk, like I sat there and drank like a gallon of chocolate milk to prove a point, and then couldn't drink chocolate milk for like years after the fact because it was just like damaging my psyche.
I had a similar food aversion from chocolate. So during Easter time, when I was a kid, I started eating a lot of. In Italy, we celebrate Easter with not the small chocolate egg, but with the big chocolate egg. I'm talking about. This size with a lot of milk chocolate. I ate too much and I got sick. And for a long time, I could not stand even the sight of. Oh man, that was close. the sight of the chocolate.
And so was there the
they came back.
That was solid. That was solid. It was a good play. Win the third. We are in the third. 7 minutes left in the third. All right, Mara Laura, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the first time chat. Thank you for joining us. If you have questions to Roberto about the neurobiology of taste and sense of taste and the neural processing in the brain, he's happy to answer those. So throw those in chat. Also, if you're not following, click the follow button because it helps with our visibility. We love to have followers. Also, you get notification about future streams. So click that follow button right now. Texan, welcome back. It's good to see you. I've caught a couple of your streams recently, but yeah, it's hard to overlap because weird schedules and whatnot. So Texan also averages at least a half a gallon of chocolate milk a day. You don't have the aversion that I did.
But you gotta get healed though. To get the aversion, maybe it's still can drink it without any problem. Because the condition sine qua non, so the most important fact to get the aversion is to get ill.
Oh, that was close.
Who is that goalie?
I had no idea who the Minnesota goalie was back in 1992. Should know. I lived in Minnesota up until 2005, actually. Forget what Arnold said. Chocolate milk is great as long as you're burning those calories. Muay Thai for the win. Yeah. Muay Thai to keep in shape.
Yeah, unless you don't get ill, then that's
But half a gallon of chocolate milk a day is a lot of chocolate milk.
a lot of sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your sugar intake on that? So does your knowledge of, I mean, you're an expert in taste perception and things like that. Has anything you've experienced in the lab or learned from literature changed your food perception or how you experience food, what restaurants you go to? Is there anything that like, holy crap, I need to change my life? Did that happen at any point to you?
Yes, not necessarily due to something we do in the lab, but to something around the realm of scientific literature about, in this case, metabolism and how we process and metabolize certain elements in the food we eat. Now, we are not going too far away from sugars because that's about. I never ate so much sugar. Yes, I mean, as an Italian, I eat pasta, bread, and sometimes a little bit too much wine, which is sugar, but not in a quantity like, for example, that were present in the 80s in the Coke here or in other sugary beverage.
Yeah.
But I was not super into the scientific realm of liver alcoholic syndrome. Which is a pathology, or it's a metabolic disorder. I mean, it's called in different ways, so you might have heard in a different way. But it's a metabolic disorder that before the 80s was present, especially in alcoholic. So it was a disorder that destroys your liver, and the liver is the organ of our body that
I want to point out you have
detoxify.
50 seconds left.
Well, I think that I'm gonna lose.
No worries. I wanted to give you a chance.
Someone wants to bet
the clock.
on my
Put a prediction up.
loss. There you go. Come on, let's
Get
go.
up there. Get up the ice.
Oh, the goal is still there. They didn't.
Pull the goalie at one advantage.
That would have been, I know.
Man, have you
There
seen
you
the
go.
new NHL overtime rules? Where they go from 5-on-5 to 3-on-3?
No, that's funny.
No, it's fun to watch because it's so fast paced, right?
Yeah.
Like there's less people on the ice.
And that makes sense because already here, you guys have, compared to Europe, the field is
it's
smaller. So
yeah.
it's- with 3-on-3, it's probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I like it. It's much more lively.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the game? Shots 19 versus 5, and you still only lost 2-1. So your percentage
Yes,
was 20%.
we were just talking. But anyway, so just to finish what you asked me, was the knowledge that a lot of the sugar we intake, like the common sugar, which the sucrose,
Yeah.
right, is made of glucose and fructose, which are the two monosaccharides that form sucrose. And I didn't know before a couple of years ago, and I started reading more about it, the literature on fructose, which is actually the culprit that causes a lot of damage on the liver because our body cannot metabolize fructose. And this is very weird if we think that for many years we eat fruit.
Yeah.
Which contain fructose. But the problem is that you should eat fruit with the fiber in it, with the skin, the pulp.
Interesting.
And that allow your intestine not to absorb fructose. So the fiber protect your intestines from absorbing fructose and then putting in your body and leaving fructose from your gut bacteria. So your gut bacteria will live out of fructose, but not you. And now when you add sucrose on beverages, there is no fibers in it. It just absorbs fructose
Taking fructose directly.
and that's over time, if you abuse, is gonna kill your liver, and then there are gonna be a lot of problems. So anyway, that's not very taste related and probably not too
but I
funny.
mean, it's important, right? Because the high fructose corn syrup, I mean, there was a lot of lobbying by the corn industry to get that incorporated into things. And it's like artificial sweeteners. We're going to find out a lot of the stuff is not good for us.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason our biology evolved a certain way.
Please make a shout out for another Italian researcher. There is an Italian researcher. I mean, she moved recently, so I don't remember in which university she's in the US. She's called Monica Duss. That she studied how sugars impact taste processing in the periphery. You can say her surname is D-U-S, and her name is Monica, M-O-N-I-C-A. And she made some good recent studies published in eLife about the importance of glucose and fructose and how they can change even the way taste is processing at the periphery. So we are pretty far away from, liver and metabolic disease. Yeah, that she is. Yes.
University of Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
Yeah. University. There we go.
Oh, come on.
I'll send a link for in chat if anyone's interested. Texan Space Agency, Southern style sweet tea. So much sugar, it's gritty. How do you feel about Southern sweet tea?
I think I never tested, and I would probably never.
So your Tallahassee arrival, that was your first experience in Southern United States? Or first
To live or to visit? To live for sure. Yeah, absolutely. The only place I lived in US is Long Island, and I can tell you Tallahassee is much better than Long Island. I mean, talking about middle of Long Island, not the nice part of Long Island. Could not afford the nice
Postdoc salary Long Island.
postdoc salary Long Island. So the type of salary that allow you to see the city with the goggles, like very far away.
Yeah. Texan said, drop what you're doing and go to Chicken Express right now. You do experience that.
Well, we'll see. We'll think about it.
Man, this is fun. Misadventures take home from our discussion just now is, so I need to add fiber pills to my soda. Got it.
Yes, or like the skin of an apple.
As long as you eat the skin of an apple before drinking a soda, you're going to be fine. Your liver is protected. Oh, Texan is advocating for this as going to Chicken Express as an essential cultural exchange. I've tried your spaghetti, now drink the tea and eat the gray chicken.
Well,
You feel welcome.
I don't know about that.
Texan, I don't know if we have a Chicken Express. Do we have a Chicken Express in Tallahassee? I don't think we do. Chicken Express. Man, let's check location.
Man, they are killing it. They are big.
Whole lot of Texas. I don't know if they've gone that far. Texas. I know, it looks like the furthest they've gone is Louisiana, actually. So no, they haven't made it to Florida yet. So next time you're in Texas, go to a Chicken Express. Texas.
You know, I've never been in Texas.
Oh.
That may be another reason why not to.
Texan, don't take that personally.
No, it's just about sugars.
Controversial question. What's the best fried chicken?
The one I don't eat. I don't eat fried chicken. I'm sorry. I'm very boring, from an American food standpoint.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of chicken, but none of it require frying it. Sorry.
No worries. All right, we're an hour and 40, almost 45 minutes into the stream. If anyone has questions for Roberto, he's happy to answer them. Neurobiology, neurosciences, neurobiology of taste, perception of taste, and how the brain processes information, while playing a little bit of NHL 92. North Stars were pretty good. It might have been, you should have picked a worse team to play against.
I think that I clicked the wrong button, but that was a 0-0 game.
Yeah.
I don't know, we should change probably.
What do you want to do, Golden Axe or Gran Turismo?
Let's get Gran Turismo.
Let's do Gran Turismo.
We still have the legal alcohol limit to drive now.
Yes, we're good. We got 3 hours to process. It'll be good. All right.
Is go with the PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation controller. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're transitioning over to Gran Turismo. So this would have been what, late 90s when this one came out?
Yes, I think I played some version of it early 2000. Maybe it's not this version. I mean, they'd have been different, like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So I have Gran Turismo 2 downloaded too, if you want to try that, if you don't like it.
Oh, it's okay. I don't think I will be able to catch the difference.
Texan has an intriguing question. Why do we like a smoky flavor, or some folks like the taste of cigars? What's going on here? It seems like that would have been selected away a long time ago. Fire bad. It's a good point.
That's the aroma due to the volatile molecules there. So it's mostly olfaction.
That's a smell.
Yeah.
Why?
Everything that is smoked has nothing to do with taste by being taste like non-volatile chemicals like sugars, like alkaloids, like salt that bind to your taste bud. However, smell is a part of flavor experience, and in that case, the smell and the smoky smell had the aroma to our perception.
So it is smell based. I guess the question still stands, but this is beyond your expertise then. Why do we like the smoky smell when smoke means run? Like, why do we like smoky
Yeah, that's a
scotch
good
and
question. That's
smoked food?
I think he said the right thing, like away from my expertise.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's a good question. I think that those are two different dimensions, right? Because one thing is sometimes you know when the smoke, I mean, the certain smoke that you use to generate food or to cook some food is not exactly the same smoke that originates from something that is burning. At least to me, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Even if I just smell it, right? Even if I just smell something that is smoked, like food that is smoked,
Yeah.
so it's not the same. So it could be that there are different olfactory receptors that allow us to differentiate. Even because the smoke of a fire is pretty innate stimulus. I mean, it's something that we can recognize pretty easily.
Oh, Misadventures has an interesting hypothesis. Maybe cooked food was reinforced as positive. Uncooked foods was selected against. So maybe burning, because obviously it wasn't cooked to medium rare back in caveman days.
Yeah, we should ask the caveman days.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
but
intriguing.
clearly for our days, I can see that being a factor.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I select easy. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no one's going to judge you. You don't have infinite lives, though, so
I'm gonna take a Chevrolet.
no God mode in this game. You're on your own. Texas Space Agency. So you're saying that if I plug my nose, I couldn't tell the difference between hickory smoked barbecue and mesquite smoked barbecue?
Yes. You should actually try that. Try to put a food that has been smoked with your nose closed, and then release the nose. You're gonna be smashed with the aroma all at once, and that because of the retronasal pathway that has been blocked. Because even if it's retronasal, you still need to breathe in and breathe out. So
I see. It won't even circulate up if you're
yes,
plugged.
normally you have two ways to detect odors. Like the orthonasal means like when you inhale, you take air from from in front of your nose, and the retronasal route, like from your mouth back to the nose, then it reaches the nose when you exhale. So you still need to be able to inhale and exhale to have both olfactory experience. But the one you're referring to, try to close your nose, put that food in your mouth, close your mouth. You're probably not gonna perceive anything smoky, hopefully. Otherwise, send me an email, and then you release a
stroke. You might be having a stroke. Heads up. That's a good test for that. Why is that? People that have strokes like smell. Don't they have a smell? It's like
it depends
camp or
where the
something.
stroke is originating. Right?
Yeah.
If it's originating in part of the brain that deal with olfactory processing, and there are many.
Yeah. Well, I was
There are
going to say,
many.
is there a taste that people perceive when they have a stroke?
I never heard, but I suspect that it could. Oh man, I have to press X.
We're off to a good start.
But so for the stroke, it's the stroke is when a part of your brain where the stroke originated doesn't work properly anymore because there is lack of blood or aerating that part. So you lose the capability of that part of the brain to do its job. Now, if the stroke is happening in olfactory or taste-related region, you might have. So first of all, you're lucky because those are not really vital part. Unless the stroke then expand, but then you might have an altered perception of those modality. Yeah, you see, Kenneth, you should have had the full set for playing. The wheel and the
the whole steering setup. Have you seen the driving simulators they have now, like full arcade, where you when you turn the seat leans and stuff like that? Those things are amazing.
I never played.
That's
when I was young, those things were not available. I mean, some of them were available, but they were not as advanced as the one they have now.
Texan Space Agency, following up on that discussion, I taste pennies when I get MRIs. Apparently it's normal for the contrast fluid. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not familiar with that.
MRIs, you're putting a really big magnetic field on the body. When you add a contrast agent, chances are it's some kind of magnetically active moment material, and then the magnetic field from the MRI, it stimulates that, and you can see it better as a contrasting agent, which is why they use it. I didn't know it tastes like pennies. That's pretty crazy.
You should try to have the MRI without contrast and see if you still. I mean, maybe it's going to be a waste of money from. But as an experiment to then make sure that your penny perception is due to the contrast agent and not just the magnet.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Was it intravenous contrast agent or was it in the mouth? Because in the mouth, I can see that, right?
Could be.
I could just directly stimulate it somehow, presumably.
Or yes, alter some just taste bud. Or I think I'm gonna arrive last at this game.
No worries. It's your first race in what, 20-some years?
Yes.
We won't hold it against you.
It's like getting back in time, but I cannot go straight for more than.
You also get really hot and think you're gonna crap your pants.
What did he say?
For the MRI. Oh. Not only do you taste pennies, but you get hot and think you're going to crap your pants.
That's still non-taste related.
Oh, man. That is a life experience, I'm sure, Texan. Holy crap. That's amazing.
What are you doing the replay for? Well,
Keo Cat said you're a Sunday driver. Oh, ouch.
Thank you. I see your point. They're also allowing me to see the replay of the race to show me how bad I was, but I'm gonna skip that.
All right. OpenAll has a question. A first-time chat. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't followed, click the follow. You did follow as of yesterday, so thank you for joining us. Their question is, do we know why COVID causes people to lose their sense of taste?
No, we don't. We know why COVID impacted the sense of smell. There were way more people that reported smell dysfunction compared to taste dysfunction, but some people reported just pure taste.
And it's known it's just taste. It's not a byproduct.
But we don't know still the mechanism in that case. We know partially the mechanism at the level of the olfactory epithelium, in which there was the virus impact the capability of olfactory sensory neurons to regenerate itself, and when they were regenerated, they were not expressing the right olfactory receptor on top of their cilia in the nasal cavity, so some of the olfactory perception was altered, like you were smelling something completely different than what you expected, and in some patients completely gone, becoming anosmic. But for taste, we don't know what COVID. I mean, the only thing we know so far is that in a small percentage of patients, COVID caused dysgeusia, which is the loss of taste sensation, whereas anosmia is the loss of smell sensation. I don't know what to do from this moment. What should I click to get out of? Oh, they need to enter my name, really? With that?
Well, initials.
Okay, because that was a very bad. I don't know if I want to live.
You just are.
Okay, and let's try again. Let's try again.
Man. That's intense. Yeah, Adam talked about that. The regeneration process was broken. So I guess it takes time to lose that. But so taste is not known. I mean, so going back to that question, we talked about, sight being a lot more studied because it arguably is more important to survival if you have sight versus smell and taste. I mean, does that come through in the funding decisions?
Oh yeah, you said that.
That's curious. It might be a touchy situation, but
no, it's not a touchy situation, but it's true.
Yeah.
For a long time. Oh my. Sorry. I just need to stop. Okay. For historically, like before the 1994 or 1993, when a Nobel Prize was awarded to Richard Axel and Linda Buck, that discovered the mechanism by which olfactory sensory neurons express the receptor Before that, a lot of neuroscience research was mostly focusing on vision, because vision was the sensory modality that have been studied since the 40s and 50s, and where we made a lot of progress those days. So it's inevitable that funding agencies were funding more research in that area because we knew more. Now, from the 90s, when there was all this attention on olfaction due to the Nobel Prize given to two olfactory researchers, things changed a bit, and chemosensory modality or chemosensory system came back being very fancy, if I can use this word, from a funding source point of view, both in Europe and in US. Among the two, taste has always been the little brother, because for different reasons, including the accessibility of olfactory structure in a non-primate brain, olfaction has always been studied the most. I did my PhD in olfaction, for example, just to don't go too far from... so as a consequence, we know much less about taste, but it's also funny because when we know less, there is more to learn and more to discover, right? But that's why I mean, I'm going at 30 miles per hour. This is like getting so embarrassing.
No worries, that's a hard turn.
No, it's hard to actually think. I mean, think what you're doing and talk about.
Oh man!
Oh, look at me, 106.
Worries.
I'm not gonna break anymore.
I mean,
I'm gonna crash. But
when you write a proposal to the NIH, I mean, vision blindness is debilitating, right? So it falls under this protected category of individuals. But like, taste and smell don't have that level of respect, despite them having very profound neurological impacts, like depression and stuff like that. Like, how do you sell it as being, we need to understand this to fix things?
Well, you don't actually sell it. You don't really need to sell it too much, because I mean, I'm talking from the taste point of view, but even olfaction, if you think about two neural systems that allow you to understand how the brain perceives what we eat, there you go. Most of our pathologies these days are due to altered or bad eating habits.
Obesity.
And eating habits originate by eating experience. You keep on eating what you like, and sometimes you eat more of what you need of what you like, and oftentimes what you like, those are sweet, salty food. So understanding how those information is encoded and how that information then allow you to drive your eating decision is the key, right? That's actually what motivates our study. We are not necessarily interested in understanding why your brain allowed to perceive that food a little bit more saltier than another food that might be a little more sour. No, we want to understand how the brain used that information to then decide, I want to eat and consume that food. So it's a sensory to decision, right? Type of thing.
The obesity endemic in the United States is working in your favor?
Well, the obesity endemic worldwide, especially in the United States, but not only in the United States, in that case, is working in the favor, or is urgent to understand from different angle, the metabolic, neural, even physical, pure muscle physiology standpoint, what is happening, and if we can provide some information to try to prevent it. Now, some of the information already there, but oftentimes they're ignored, like don't put that amount of sugar in the beverage, but that's a different discussion.
Don't drink a gallon of soda. Or at least have your fiber if you're going to do it.
Yes, I would still avoid it.
But that discussion, that's a whole nother thing. But we should do a prediction because we haven't in a while. You should start a new game, but
I should, right? To just
Huggy Beer, welcome back to the stream. Huggy Beer has requested a factoid. So, what factoid do you want to drop?
Who has requested a factoid?
Huggy Beer.
Okay, what factoid? Well, one interesting factoid is the concept of super tasting. I don't know if many of you have heard about some people being super taster, which seems something very funny and very positive. Like, you are super taster, like you're a superhero.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a boomerang, because the super taster, they tend to perceive bitterness of food with a much higher intensity.
Oh, interesting.
And that is, for the most part, due to a genetic variation. So the gene that encodes the bitter receptor is encoded at a higher rate. So you have way more taste cells that encode that receptor. So every time you eat something bitter, you perceive bitterness. You are a super taster with respect to bitter. And actually, there is a very easy experiment that you can do if you take a chemical that's called PROP, P-R-O-P, which is a bitter chemical. If you are a super taster, you put a little amount of this prop in your tongue and you're gonna be disgusted. If you are not, it's like nothing happened. I am not a super taster. My wife is a super taster, and we did that a couple of times, and it's different because for the most part it's due to a genetic variation. So I might not have that genetic variation, so I might not have the same amount of bitter receptor my wife has, but that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, no, that's intriguing. All right, you're going to start another round. Misadventure and Texan, we'll get back to your questions, but right now we're going to pop up a prediction related to science or Roberto's expertise. He wrote a question for all of you guys. Ask a Scientist Gaming, you're on the honor code. If you're not following us, click the follow button, get your standard internet units, and answer the question. Do all tongue papillae have taste buds? So you have these I don't know how do you want to describe
Bumps on the tongue.
Bumps on the tongue. Do all of them have taste buds associated with them or taste buds on them? That is the question, yes or no. So click the predict button at the top of chat. Gamble as many of these standard internet units as you want. If you're not following, click follow, get your internet units, and you can gamble on the answer. Note you're on Ask a Scientist Gaming Honor Policy. You can't Google the answer. You should just use what you know to answer this question while Roberto does another race. Seems like you're more under control now. It's going better.
Just before the first bend, or the first, what do you call it? Now, normally. But probably I should keep on accelerating without ever braking. That's maybe, well, no, doesn't work.
Keep in mind, this is easy mode. How hard does it get?
Well, a lot for me, apparently.
Oh, man. Do all tongue papillae have taste buds, yes or no? Texan's answer is only cis deal in absolutes. Anytime you use always or never, that does raise concerns, right?
Yes, it does.
But cats can't taste sweets. Cats never taste sweets, is what we're saying. So, yeah, if you guys have an answer to this question, click the predict button. You have about 30 seconds left to make your prediction. Do all tongue papillae have taste buds, yes or no? Put the answers in there now. I like that. That's going back to the tongue map and tongue structure and distribution of tongue properties. Because the number definitely changes. We've established that. The number of receptors changes. All right, so Roberto, what is the answer? Do all tongue papillae have taste buds, yes or no?
No.
No, they don't. Congratulations to everyone that said no. They were very confident in their bet of no, so congratulations. 2,998 standard internet units. Congratulations, Texan, on your return on investment. Boom shakalaka is right.
We're still having some issue here. It's easier to talk about tongue papillae than driving this car. No, not the whole tongue. I mean, again, tongue papillae are the bumps in the tongue that contain taste bud, which contain taste cells. But some of the papillae, they don't have taste bud. So there are different type of papillae that we can have. We have the fungiform that take their name from mushroom. Fungi in Latin means mushroom. We have the circumvallate papillae that are big papillae in the back of our tongue that still contain taste bud in their valley. But then we have the filiform papillae that do not contain taste buds, for example. So not all these type of bumps we have in the tongue contain the taste buds that contain the taste cell with the taste receptor. That was the... Why it was always to show me the replay?
I think you can press start. You can skip it.
Okay.
Try start.
So far, this has been the most disappointing game I tried.
That's a new record. Congratulations. Cheers.
I like the optimism.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Oh my.
All right, so the answer is no, not all of them have taste buds associated with them. All right, catching up on some questions. Misadventure wants to know, is taste more important to omnivores or herbivores? Or is there a difference in taste importance to omnivores versus herbivores?
I don't think so. That's a good question. I never actually thought about the importance of taste from that perspective. So omnivores, they eat everything. So likely evolutionary, they want to detect where carbohydrates are, where meat is, so with the umami, and they want to avoid, of course, as usual, the spoiled food or toxic food. Spoiled food being food that is very sour, and toxic food that is very bitter. But herbivores too, in the sense, herbivores also wants to avoid food that is spoiled and food that is toxic, and they might just have less tune and preference towards meaty food. But apart from that, they might be still attracted to salty foods. Every animal in the animal kingdom is attracted to salt, because salt has not only an importance for being a taste, but it's also a check that our body uses to understand how much electrolyte we do have in our body. So we want to...
interesting.
And that's actually a very interesting fact that we can catch it back. So going back to your question, I don't think that there are like very crucial difference. If any, there could be minor difference about the perception of savory, umami food more in favor of the omnivore, because they're also carnivore in that case, or they might. But for salt, for example, that's a very specific, particular type of taste, because it can elicit a complete different hedonic sensation. Hedonic means how much I like this food or how much I dislike, how good and how bad it is, independent if it's salty or sweet, right? Or independent of it's bitter or sour. So you can have two taste stimuli that you equally dislike. That means they have the same hedonic component, but one is a sour, one is a bitter. So you can still discriminate them, but they are equally bad. Okay, from an hedonic point of view, salt, table salt, NaCl, has a different hedonic perception depending on its concentration. For example, if you go to the sea and you drink a glass of seawater, you're gonna puke. You don't like it. It's too high. Its concentration is too high. But if you can add a little bit of salt in your food, and you might actually like it. Now, if you are salt depleted, if for whatever condition you pee out so many electrolytes that your body is craving for sodium, you're gonna go to the sea and you're gonna like seawater because you need it. So salt detection, sodium chloride detection, which is the table salt, is most the common salt, is an important taste for everyone, no matter if you are herbivores, carnivores, or whatever terminology, whatever category. So I don't think there are many obvious difference between herbivore and carnivores.
I mean, so in that case, if you're salt deficient, you're drinking salt water, you're like, this stuff is great. Is the interception in that perception, is that in the brain that occurs, or
Yes.
is it like changing the number of receptors? No, it's just a processing.
No, it's just the processing. You are processing the salt information on the periphery the same, but there is a part of along the way when the information is going from the periphery to the more central part of your brain.
Yeah.
The hedonic component switch, and in this case, because you need sodium, so there is a plastic change that occur in different parts of the brain that allow you now to perceive those high concentration of salt as pleasurable, and therefore you consume it because you need it. As soon as you get back on track with your electrolyte, things change again. So that show you how smart our brain is for situations that are like life or death situation, because if you don't have enough sodium for so long, sodium is super important for many things: muscle contraction, neural activity propagation, kidney function, so on and so forth. So it's a very important electrolyte, and you always need to have a specific amount of sodium in your circulation. And the fact that sometimes sodium chloride is perceived good at high concentration when you're salt depleted is because for homeostatic mechanism, your body kicks in to try to allow you to integrate more sodium so that you're going back to the right amount.
So misadventures. I have hypotension, and man, do I love some sodium. Hypotension, that's got to be rare, right? Hypertension is everywhere, but hypotension, love some sodium. That's awesome. So presumably they have the accommodating or the responsive system in their neural processing as well. Texan Space Agency. I've read about sailors lost at sea and starting to crave strange parts of fish like eyes.
You caught me on guard about this.
Wow.
I don't know where you read this,
Holy crap.
Senda has the link of the book.
Yeah, Texan, what book was that? That's amazing. Or what anecdote? Holy crap.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm not aware.
Neurological or taste related, we don't know. All right, other things. Texan Space Agency wants to know, why do we like spicy? So spicy's it's not a taste, right? Is that
Yes,
what we
but do we?
Earlier?
Some people do, and some people learn to like it. Like, for example, I didn't like spicy food for a long time. Then I tend to like it with experience. So I don't think that spicy is an innate. I know we're gonna go back to the fact that it's not a taste sensation, but it's still part of the flavor and what we eat, right?
Yeah.
It's not an innate pleasurable stimulus. I mean, it's not that you're born with the fact that the first time you're a baby, you taste the chili pepper, you're like, whoa, yummy, that's good. No, but you actually it's the opposite. Now, what is spice sensation? Spice sensation has nothing to do with taste. It's actually due to the capsaicin, which is the active component of many chili pepper, that binds to some receptor that are not taste related. They are actually for temperature. And this receptor, they are sensitive to capsaicin, and they're also sensitive to very hot temperature. So that's why the feeling that you get when you eat spicy food, that your mouth is burning.
It's triggering the same thing.
It's triggering the same thing. Your brain is completely is unaware if you're actually eating spicy food, chili pepper, or you're actually burning your tongue. And the same goes for menthol and cool temperature. So menthol or camphor, they binds to the same receptor, thermal receptor. Is part of a family. It's called TRP family, transient receptor, transient membrane protein receptor. So capsaicin, chili pepper, and menthol means they hijack receptor for temperature that are somatosensory in nature. They're not taste receptor, and they then lead to the sensation of hot, cold. How do we tend to learn to like it? That's a difficult question. I mean, there are some people that like pain, or that like to learn that pain, and even though it's painful, it evokes some pleasurable sensation. But that goes a little bit beyond just flavor perception and. But that was a good question. I mean, you see, a lot of questions relate to things that are not exactly taste, because
they're convoluted.
It's all part of this.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Texan followed up with. How does acquired taste work? And so you're suggesting that's neurological and not necessarily, well, how do you draw the line between physiological and neurological?
What was exactly the question?
How does acquired taste work?
Acquired means how we get familiar to taste.
And so Lori has a comment to the same could be said about beer/liquor. Yes, it's an acquired taste. Like, you grew up in wine country and started drinking beer later, or?
No, that's exactly, it's true. It's like for certain vegetables, right? So, okay. The taste perception, part of it is innate and is pretty hardwired. So when you're born as a baby, and we were using this example before, if you are as a baby, you eat a slice of lemon, you're not gonna like it. You never experience it, so you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So the sight of a lemon doesn't bug you. So you're still putting the lemon in your mouth. You don't know. You're naive. But as soon as you taste it, bam, it's very bad. Now, that is an extreme case scenario, of course, right? Because it's very sour. But the same goes with some bittery vegetables, or as you said, with some alcoholic beverage that at first they might not be pleasant as taste or flavors. But the more we taste them, the more we consume it, the more our brain change. And it turns that some of the taste that we dislike as kids, we tend to like it as adults, because we acquire a different taste palette. And Part of it is because taste buds change every 2 weeks. So, there are some mechanisms by which, with experience, you might adjust or being more sensitive or less sensitive to, at the level of the periphery, to certain taste. But part of it is due to central mechanism. So mechanism in the cerebral cortex or in other part of the brain, not necessarily in the tongue directly. But yeah, experience it's an important component of flavor and taste. I think about the sommelier, that's a little bit more complicated. That's not only taste, right?
Yeah.
But they do important training to learn how to detect certain aromas, certain taste, right, and to report it. They're not born like that.
Yeah, it's a practice skill. Well, that makes sense. I related that point. Let's assume your kid and wife are no longer watching. Have you experimented on your kid with taste? Like,
No, because surprisingly enough, my daughter loved broccoli since an early age, and now she's, she don't like other food that kids normally tend to like, but broccoli was weird. So we tried, just not because of experimenting, just because it's a good vegetable.
Yeah, it's good for
no,
development.
I didn't experiment with the lemon.
Still time.
Now she knows.
Yeah.
Now you don't pick her because she's too old now.
So KeoCat, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for all the questions. They got to get to lab early in the morning to get some data. So yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's been a really good time. Texan's got to run an errand. Don't see you before return. Thank you as always. Thank you for showing up. We love your questions. I'll have to stop by your stream sometime. Man, it's been a busy couple weeks. Even though we had spring break, I feel like I'm still swimming. It's like that point in the semester where it's just everything all the time. But Texan, we'll see you later. Thank you for swinging by. Huggy Beer, I have your question on the list. We can get to it now, actually. Actually, maybe it's time for a prediction. Let's put one of these up.
Let's go.
Let's get this one.
Well, this I think we said it's.
We're going to see.
We see if people were paying attention.
Yeah, this is like a quiz at the end of the lecture. They only retain like 15% of anything we say, so let's find out if anyone got this answer. All right, can adult taste cells regenerate? I mean, it's pretty common knowledge, and we talked to Adam about this. Like over time, your sense of taste and sense of smell degrade. Like it gets worse with age typically, but not universally. But the question is, can taste cells regenerate? After you lose those cells, do they get regenerated afterwards? Or are they just, you have a limited number and they decrease over time? Yeah, put your predictions in there right now. Click the predict button. If you're not following, click the follow button. Huggy Beer, we'll get to your question right after this prediction, I promise. Yeah, but if you guys have additional questions, let's put them in chat and we will be happy to answer them as we go along. Racing feeling better?
Every time you said so, then I start spinning. Look, that's
the pressure of me watching, despite everyone else watching this. That's okay.
That's exactly what it is.
You guys can just use headphones. You don't have to watch the gameplay. Well, we have about 14 minutes probably before we'll start playing some NARC, so you got a little bit more time to drive around. Unless you want to do some Golden Axe. That's the only one you haven't played yet. So yeah, if you guys have a guess, can adult taste cells regenerate? Yes or no? Put those in, click the predict button and make your predictions now. It's for standard internet units, but mostly it's for pride. You want to be right when you get answers right. But also you can make us take a drink or request a factoid or unlock emotes. It's totally up to you based on your standard internet point usage strategies. Oh, is it how you remembered this game? Or is this one
I remember I was much better at it.
You and your roommate? Did you invite your roommate to watch this tonight?
No, I think it's sleep. I mean, it's probably early in the morning.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes, that would not have been.
And what is it? 6 hour difference?
No, now it's 5 because we changed times before Europe during spring.
Okay. It's 5 hours. Not bad. It's only
Not
3
bad,
a.m.
yeah. I
Not watching your stream. Oh, all right. So, Roberto, what is the answer? Can adult taste cells regenerate?
Yes.
Yes, they can. Congratulations, anyone that put yes. You get your 1 to 1.65 payout, so totally worth it. Taste cells regenerate.
And I mean, I think that the important things to highlight Because when you say that, it's like, oh, taste cell regenerate, right? And it's, oh, doesn't seem that fancy. In the end, you know, you might damage your tongue, and it's important that you have a process that, after some of the taste buds have been burned and physically damaged, allow you to put new taste cell even when you are an adult, even after development. Because, and why that is so important is because normally in our nervous system, neurons or sensory cell, like your photoreceptors in the back of the head, they don't regenerate. Once they die, and that's it. So the only place where we have adult neurogenesis, that means new formation of neuron or neuron-like cell in the adult, is the olfactory sensory neuron in humans. So you talk with Adam, then the neurons that allow us to perceive smell, and the taste cells, the epithelial cell that are modified epithelial cells that allow to perceive taste. That's very, very important. Otherwise, we are able to generate new neuron only during development. That's why, for example, when we talk about development of different parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex, the last part that gets developed after we are 20 years old, it's important not to, during that time, not to abuse of certain drugs, for instance, just to make the things very clear with our audience, that might impact or might damage some of your neurons, because once they're dead,
Yeah.
and they then come back.
Yeah.
Except the neurons in the taste bud and
smell.
the olfactory sensory epithelium in the nose.
That is very underappreciated. Like your spine doesn't grow back. You sever that, you're done, right?
Yeah, there in the periphery, if we're talking about the spine, only the axon of certain motor neurons can regenerate. So the protrusion from the cell body, which is the center of the neurons that goes back to the muscle, part of it can regenerate after an injury. But if you damage the cell body, the neuron itself, like the core where the nucleus is and everything,
you shred that, it's done.
It's done, yeah.
Wow. All right. So, opineal. Do taste cells regenerate because of existing cells mitosis, or is it a stem cell differentiating kind of situation?
That's that kind of situation. Yes, there are
stem
some
cells.
Stem cell, like stem-like cell at the base of the taste bud that differentiates all the time. So it takes 1 to 2 weeks to allow this differentiation to complete. So, and then you go from stem cell, different status of young immature taste cells to the fully mature taste cells with its receptor. So it's a stem cell differentiation kind of situation.
And that's what was damaged in the smell due to COVID, the stem cell regeneration.
What it was damaged was the mechanism allowing the differentiation from a stem cell into proper new olfactory sensory neurons with the right receptor.
I mean, so if you had to guess, the impact of COVID on taste, was it probably the same mechanism?
I think the problem is that we also know way more about the machinery in terms of different chemical regulators that allow a olfactory sensory neuron stem cell to then become a fully mature. Actually, part of that research was done here at FSU by an Italian, Graziano Graziadei, in the 70s. So many of the discovery for olfactory sensory neuroregeneration were done here at FSU.
Oh, that's cool.
But we know less about taste. So it could be very well. We just don't have the tool to experimentally test it properly, like we did in the olfactory system. But there are different groups that are studying that currently, so it's possible that we will get the answer soon.
Huggy Bear's mechanism of regeneration is when a mommy taste cell and a daddy taste cell love each other.
There you go.
You want to back that up? You want to vouch for that mechanism?
At 1022, by playing this game, I can back up
We'll call it
everything.
the Vincis mechanism of regeneration. Get it named after you. Cellular reproduction via sexual.
For sure, it's a funny one.
So Huggy Bear has a follow-up. So what happens to the old taste cells?
They just die. They
That's
just
it.
die and they get removed. It's like, you peel out a layer of onion and you take it off. So there are certain mechanisms that allow a cell in our body to just die and be removed, literally, like you remove the trash. So they're not gonna stay there, they're just gonna be removed. The end of their life cycle, if you want. They're not functional anymore, out they go.
So, misadventure, I spent much of a summer playing Gran Turismo. That's fun.
Well, you should have.
The soundtrack was killer. Yeah. It's got some good radio on it.
Man, this is already a success. I'm still seeing the other cars in the side of you.
You're not only seeing them, you're catching up to them.
Nah, too late.
I think you got one more in if you want before we play NARC.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
So Huggy Bear wants to know, I think I heard that vinegar opens taste buds so things seem spicier. Is there something similar to that with other tastes? Well, first, is that true? Does vinegar, does acidity make things seem spicier? So that's not a taste, as we talked about earlier, but doesn't matter.
I am not aware of. Can we know where did you hear that or read that? If it's possible. I mean, acetic acid is an acid, and as an acid, it activates a group of receptors that have been discovered actually a couple of years ago. They're called autopetrin receptor, that are like just channels that detect protons. So lower in pH, a lot of protons, and they open and they allow the taste cell that have this receptor to depolarize, and that leads to the perception of sour. That is the taste. Now, how do that allow a change in the perception of spice, which operates under a completely different receptor, operates under receptor of temperature, as I told you before? I don't know. There could be certain type of there is a lot of integration between temperature and taste that can happen even beyond the tongue, even at the level of different brain region, where then information from the tongue is then routed. But I am not aware of this specific case.
So Huggy Beer said it was a cooking show ages ago. They put some vinegar in the chili to make it spicier. I mean, that might be part of the cooking process too, right? Like shedding or like shredding some cells with vinegar that release more of the capsaicin or something inside
There could be.
It might not happen in the mouth, right? But
could be that there is more capsaicin already available to hit the receptor.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, actually.
But I have heard people that advocate for, if you want to get rid of spicy taste in your mouth, you drink milk, right? Which is slightly basic. So I don't know if that's related mechanistically or not.
It could be related. But I'm not aware of, though I say it could be. So I'm not so sure that that's the mechanism by which clearly the milk is going to render your entire oral cavity less acidic than what it is. But how then that allow the spiciness, the perception, not allowing more capsaicin to be around, but the perception to be enhanced with the same level of capsaicin there, I don't know.
Or it could just be a perception placebo thing, right? Like milk coats the mouth and it feels cooler. I don't know. That's interesting. All right, so Huggy Beer, the other part of that question is there something similar for other tastes where you can activate and deactivate? I mean, miracle fruit is an extreme example of that,
we discussed about that,
Yeah, Huggy Beer, I don't know if you saw the discussion earlier, but we talked about miracle fruit. It's basically this pill you can buy on Amazon, and you put it on your tongue, and what it does is it's a protein that binds to your taste receptors, and the sweet taste receptors, and it basically shuts it off unless you have something acidic like vinegar or lemon juice or salsa or something that triggers that, and you feel like it's sweet. So you can drink salsa and it tastes sugary, or ketchup to taste sugary. It's a very weird experience. But yeah, you guys should check out some magic fruit or miracle fruit or something like that. Just search for it. You can get little pills, and it's you just rest it on your tongue and let it dissolve, and it's a really cool experience.
And there are also other factors that can change your perception of a taste of a food. Even though the taste of the food that you put in your mouth, or the food in this case, is exactly the same. There are many. And if you think about the McDonald's sign, that's one.
That's a good point. Good or bad, it's going to influence your perception.
It's expectation. It's certain sensory modality, like other visual cue or sounds, or even expectation about For example, there's been a very, very famous study in French, of all places, involving wine tasters, in which the wine tasters were blind to the wine they've been served. Okay, so they don't know which red wine they were actually sipping, but the only information they had was the price. So one glass containing a red wine was supposed to be a very expensive wine. The same wine, the same exact wine, served on a different glass and marketed as a cheaper wine, was perceived way less intense, way less fruity, way less good overall than the most expensive wine, but the wine were the same. That's a classical example of how expectation can alter the perception of what we eat. The same goes for you go at the restaurant, and not a McDonald's, a real restaurant, and the food is served in a specific way, with some visual cues, some nice odor. Let's say that they serve exactly the same food to you, but it's all like messed up with no order, and they ask you, how do you feel? Which one do you like the most? You're gonna say that you like the most the one that has been served in a better way. The food is the same, chemical activation of your tongue is the same, but the expectation set up by the preparation of the food leads you to perceive the food better. So that's a very, very classical phenomenon, and that's been shown even neurally. Means that when you expect a taste, your gustatory cortex, the area of the cerebral cortex that finally receive all the information from the tongue and other region about what you are eating, it integrates information about what you're eating way faster than when the food is not expected. So expectation has a very, very strong impact on the way we perceive the same food. So in that case, it doesn't matter the chemical. So we don't have like the miracle fruit that is chemically binding to a sweet receptor and is altering the way we perceive sour because there is an activation of the sweet pathway. Mm-hmm. The same food can be perceived different just because of expectation.
Which is why the miracle fruit is so cool. Because you expect something and you get something very different.
But that is dual.
Yeah, it's
in terms of mechanism.
Yeah. All right. So, Huggy Beer, don't ask for magic pills. That'll get you something else. I'm going to give you guys the link right here. That's for the one we've done, this M-Berry or Miracle Berry tablets. My wife and I have done this exact product. Brought to you by Amazon. I'm not advertising for them. This is just one that I've used. But yeah, it's a really cool experience. If you guys haven't tried it, I recommend finding some miracle fruit or miracle berries or whatever they call it, and just doing the experience with a bunch of lemons and things like that. So kind of fun. All right, it's 10:31. Are you ready for some NARC?
Yes, I am.
It is time. So we're going back to old school NES, the original, the OG system that most of us grew up with. Are you ready for this? All right, so I'm going to give you some context before you start playing NARC. For those of you not familiar, I make every single one of my guests finish with NARC at the end of the night. So thank you all for sticking with us throughout the night. We're gonna fight some Mr. Big at the end. But before, I have to give Roberto some of the lore behind this game and why he's playing it. So are you ready? This is the actual box for the Nintendo cartridge. Go. You are Max Force. Your mission: bust Mr. Big and destroy the dreaded criminal empire. Seize all contraband, stolen money, illegal weapons. Use rocket bombs, high-powered machine guns. Apprehend all suspects. Protect the innocent. Punish the guilty. Stop at nothing. So you're about to win the war on drugs. This is brought to you by Nancy Reagan. Before you press start, I'm going to start the clock because you are competing against all your colleagues across all different disciplines that have been on the stream before.
I'm going to run the last, so that's for sure.
No pressure at all.
We are not allowed to have that betting anymore, but if they could have...
I don't... Yeah, I can tell you what your colleagues did. Let me see.
No, that's okay. I don't need to know. We're going to set expectations there.
We don't want to set expectations. We don't want to leave a bad taste in your mouth. But you do get to win the war on drugs tonight. Infinite bullets, infinite rockets, infinite lives. You'll be fine.
All righty.
Press start. Let's do it. The clock starts as soon as you hit the ground running, and I'll walk you through. The name of the game is Walk Right and Find Doors. You don't have to kill anyone, but sometimes it helps. Also, tapping B jumps, holding B squats, tapping A shoots rockets, holding A shoots bullets, and you'll want to practice jump rockets because that's going to be an important thing you do later in the game. Yeah.
These guys are annoying because they can't.
It's going to give you
The door.
any additional pressure. So of the 50 or so guests that have played this game, Adam has the fastest time.
Yeah, but Adam, I can see why. I mean,
He played a few video games. He plays a bunch with his kids.
he has older kids.
All right.
Sorry.
Huggy Beer wanted to follow up on the wine topic. Fairly off
Yeah.
topic, but this reminds me of counterfeit wines. If it tastes like the real thing, shouldn't it be worth the same even if it's a blended wine? Ooh, any opinions on wine coming from a European?
Can you Sorry, I was actually busy trying to kill someone here, but
So counterfeit wines, right? So if you artificially mix things together, make a blended wine that tastes like something that's high value wine.
yeah.
It's counterfeit, but if it tastes the same, do we care? Should it be the same price?
No, you're right. We shouldn't. But the problem is, if we are served the same wine in 2 glasses, and we don't know which one is it, but we are just saying, this is a very expensive wine, and this is not, and we sip both of them, we're gonna perceive the most expensive wine as better. Just because we have been fed information that lead our expectation to be higher for one wine than the other, even though the wine is the same. But this is like a psychological mechanism that alter our perception. Now,
So an arrow over the top of the end. Sorry.
the question on wine got me. But yeah, no. Overall, you're right. If the wine is the same, who cares, right? In terms of taste, should be the same. But there have been many studies with sommelier, and very experienced sommelier. Oh, where should I go? And they tricked the sommelier, the experienced sommelier, just by the vast majority of them, and some of them could recognize that something was different, but just providing information of the price of the same wine,
Yeah.
both white and red wine.
All right. So coming up here, you're going to want to shoot the guys and wearing the black coats with
Where's the
bullets
guy?
at close range.
Oh, with
So
a
go
bullet?
towards- Yep. So you're going to hold it, not tap it, but hold it.
Oh,
When
hold
they
it.
get close to you, and it's the nature. And there you go. Blue card. All right. Through the door. Right there. That was awesome.
Okay.
So that's a random
Well, I
1 in
can't
8
enter.
chance.
Oh, I need to put the
Yep.
blue card.
Exactly.
Wow. They want me to put a card in the door.
Yeah, exactly. It's a realistic game.
Very realistic.
All right, Lorianne, I don't drink hardly ever, but I did a shot in grad school called a pineapple upside down cake. The shot I served with a lemon wedge, or was served with a lemon wedge. Once you drink, you suck the lemon wedge. My wedge fell off the glass, and the drink was terrible or hideous until they brought another lemon. Each tasted terribly separate, but together they actually tasted like cake. I mean, it's down to the car. You're going to jump in that. I mean, just harkens to the complexity of taste perception,
Remind
right?
me how to jump on it.
Yep, tap V. There you go. Bottom of the screen. That'll take you up to bombs, and then you'll run into them and keep walking because you don't have a memorized path. I'm sorry. But that's so she's talking about a shot that tastes terrible unless you have lemon accompanying it. I mean, that's
Because there is the interaction of two taste, and in that case, probably the sour was rendering the taste of the shot less bad, at least for you, right? Because for other people might. Again, we talk about super taster.
but it tasted like cake when they were mixed. Which
Yeah, that is.
I'm
an
genuinely
interesting-
curious what drink that is. And Lori, if you let us know, I will make sure we have it next time Roberto's on Ask a Scientist Gaming. We'll take
Gonna make an entire episode of that.
Oh yeah, no, we'll follow whatever the
What
guest
should I do with
request
the
is.
helicopter guy?
Keep going. Just keep walking
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna ignore it.
This is walk right the level, unfortunately. But the complexity of taste is just something else. And then, your research is unique in that your subjects don't necessarily tell you about their taste experience, right? You have to do it through neural.
No, they do.
measurements.
No, they do.
The mice do.
Yeah, they do. They don't speak, but we
Yeah.
have multiple ways to understand if they like a taste or not, and we have multiple ways of understanding if they discriminate sour taste versus a bitter taste, a salty taste versus there are very precise behavioral testing that you can do. The only thing that these guys cannot do is talk, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can go and tell you more details about how can we extract those information, but we can. And actually, in the lab, we do a lot of these behavioral experiments.
I don't know when I paused the clock, but your clock is frozen, so that's not going to tell you anything. I'll go back to the video and retime it. So you're going to want to stay at the bottom. So tab B.
Okay.
Yep. So stay at the bottom. Then you go up to the top. That'll buy you a little bit extra. Keep going. You're going to run into a wall, but that's fine. That's expected.
That's
And then you'll keep going right.
all right. Here we go.
Lori has redeemed Take a Drink. So Roberto, cheers while you win the war on drugs. Lori, hopefully have a drink in hand, chilling out. We got 3 people acceptance admission to grad school today, so it's a pretty good day. We're getting additional numbers in.
Being killed while drinking.
Oh, I shouldn't drink and drive. Or Gran Turismo. What's worse, driving in this or in Gran Turismo?
This is a little bit slower than Gran Turismo. The guy is not working at a high pace.
Yeah, it's a saunter. There's no.
And it looks like he's
extra
dancing.
Dr. Ken protecting his record, at least for the stream. So stay on the bottom of the screen for the rest of the level, and it'll take you right to the end.
Oh, my, really?
So yeah, well, the end of this level at least. Yeah, I'm protecting my record. I don't think I'm worried about Roberto beating my my former record time.
There's nothing you can worry with me playing video games. We are the nightclub.
All right, so 2 questions we always ask. The first one I'm going to go with is in terms of either your expertise as a scientist or in terms of the realm of perception and taste in neuroscience, neurobiology. What movie or TV show gets your discipline right and what gets it wrong? What show do you see where you're disgusted? Which one do you see where you're like, oh, they did some homework? Go right, you'll find a door at the far end of this level.
That's a difficult question because if you're talking about my expertise within neuroscience, like chemosensory, I don't think there is
No movie, no hero.
No. And even if you think about neuroscience as a basic neuroscience,
Yeah.
like research wise, I mean, I don't think. And the other reason why it's difficult for me to answer, but I will give you an answer of a TV series
That door
that's
right there.
this one.
Yep. You're going to go through there, you're going to go right and get a silver card.
Can I still shoot some guy here?
Yep.
Okay. Because they're a little bit annoying.
Yeah, they are. So you're going to get this card and then go up through the door, but when you go up, don't press up anymore.
Yeah,
just
but
go through
they're
enough.
just like,
Oh, okay, now go to the right
not
and go
like
through the
that.
door again.
oh, again?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it-
why
it-
I don't.
yeah.
I'm not gonna beat Adam.
that was it. That was the moment. We'll see how you do against Mr. Big.
Okay.
All right, now you go left. There's the key card slot right there, and then you exit the door.
So yes, there are not been many TV shows that could, and I didn't watch a lot of TV shows since I started my faculties.
Yeah, that's assistant
career.
professor life.
But back when I was in Geneva during my grad school, there was the Big Bang theory that for many things, at least in their topic, was mostly physics with some little tiny bit of neuroscience. With that was the girlfriend of one of the main character.
Yeah, the Blossom.
So you know,
You're gonna go left on this level, and you're gonna shoot the guys with Rambo-looking guys with bullets. So hold down the shoot button when they get close. Not
With
rockets,
bullets?
bullets. Yeah.
oh, that means they need to
Okay,
hold on.
so kill that guy, and then the Rambo guy will come out. You'll have to shoot them with bullets.
But that was not a bullet.
So go left, hold down. There you go. Oh, green card. All right, you got lucky again. We'll
There
take
you
that.
go.
You said Blossom. No, what was it? What was she from? Yeah, I don't remember her name, but yeah, 90s TV show. Amy Farrah Fowler.
Oh yes. I think that was the neuroscientist, or at least the name of the character. That was
Oh, okay.
playing
It was the other one.
neuroscientist
All right.
In that TV show, that to me was not. I mean, they got a lot of things right, even for physics. I mean, they have in the writer among the writer they have really scientists. So, but for other TV show, I don't know. I cannot speak too much about TV show like Dr. House and stuff like that because I suspect that they are exaggerating for the most part. But
So House, our legal expert last week. Go right, you'll find a door at the end. Our legal expert last week was an expert in health law, and her unrealistic depiction of health law was House. And it's because the number of like malpractice lawsuits he would suffer any given episode is profound. Like he just abandons all rules associated with anything.
Yeah, that
Which is fair, but it's entertaining. All right, Huggy Beer has a question. What about when kids have clothespins on their nose to eat food they don't like? Does that work, or are you just forcing kids to eat?
you are forcing a little bit. The only thing you are helping there is just you're taking olfaction out of the game, and oftentimes kids do not like food that are high in aroma. They have like
You have the card.
that are like a very strong flavor, and the final part of the flavor, which again is the integration of taste, smell, and somatic sensation in your oral cavity, is given by the aroma of volatile molecules. So by doing that for a tiny brief moment, you prevent your kid feeling the smell component. But as soon as you remove it, because I expect you can't keep the nose pinched all the time unless, I mean, I don't know. So
That's what your rules are.
I don't want. But if you remove if you release the nose while the food is still in the mouth, then you can get a boomerang effect, because then the flavor, the aroma is gonna come back even stronger. So you need to make sure that the food has been swallowed.
It's a risky.
So it's I don't know. Looks like a very. Yeah, I will not.
Don't recommend it. You won't advocate for that.
No.
Not try that on your kid. Short-term games, but long-term cost.
Yeah, and then probably your kids are gonna hate you. So why this dog is following me?
It's a drug dog.
Oh, but is my ally or no? No, it's not anymore. It's gone.
All right, so when you get to this end of this level, you're going to come across a guy in a wheelchair, and you're going to have to shoot him with rockets.
Yeah, but the dogs are a little bit.
Yeah, so if you want to kill the dogs, you can hold down both buttons and it'll shoot at their height. So hold down both shoot buttons,
Yes, sir,
or hit that guy with a rocket. So he's the guy you're going to hit with a rocket.
Which one?
So the one in the wheelchair that was rolling around there.
Where is it?
He'll come back. Kill these guys on screen. This is one of the places you have to kill people.
Okay. If only I can catch them. But on which level of this 2D matrix are you sitting at?
It's not a lot of depth in this game. There you go.
Oh, this guy. Look at this guy. Come on, where are you?
He's a drug dealer. It's fine. You can shoot the guy in the wheelchair. There you go. One. So you need to hit him 2 more times.
2 more times?
That is it.
Oh.
Powerpuff Girls is that one that does the clothespin over the nose. Is that? All right, man. We touched on a lot of these questions. The movie one is one we regularly ask. You don't have a solid answer on that one. Good or
No,
bad,
I don't. But I would say that Big Bang Theory got many things right about science in general. Maybe not only the neuroscience we've been discussing.
Yeah. No, that's fair. All right. The other question we like to ask, and this one can be controversial depending on how you want to answer it, is unlimited budget, no moral qualms. What science experiments would you do? We're talking about genetic engineering of people. We're talking about studying large batches, twin studies. Like, what would you do? What's your ideal?
I mean, what is the second part of the question? It got me a little bit.
Unlimited budget, no moral
Unlimited
qualms.
budget, I can tell you.
No moral qualms.
Yeah, but no moral qualms.
IRB approval, no vertebrate study controls. Like, what's
I
the
mean,
most
no, but
extreme?
who cares about that? If you have no moral qualms, you want to do something with the humans, right?
Yeah.
So if we have to like choke, of course, right? And then I will try to implant as many tiny microphones in the human brain to record all the neurons of the brain at the same time, while I ask the human to eat at a fancy restaurant. So then I will have a lot of data to analyze. But,
but you can just do that with thousands of people and machine learning.
If I have
through
no
it.
moral qualms, because
Yeah.
of course you can't just implant tiny microphone that I'm talking about unless you are Elon Musk, apparently. But I think that they're bypassing a lot of moral qualms we've been discussing. Now.
Oh, there we go. Number 3. So he's going to drop a gold
okay.
card and you'll pick it up.
And now I need to pick it up. Yes.
There you go. Yep. Grab that card and then you'll go through the door. And then we're on to the final stage of Mr. Big. I mean, that's intriguing. So you said microphones. So it's like a pressure sensor.
No. I mean, I call them microphone just to give the sense that those are tiny electrodes that allow us to record the chit-chat of the neurons. They're not necessarily microphone by definition, but there is like you are lowering microphones over The head. Oh, gee, I just noticed this guy.
All right, so this is the guy you're going to have to do the jump shot at. So you're going to want to be on the top of the screen.
I see.
Walk away from him on the top of the screen. His tongues can't hit you. So press up a little higher. And then you're going to turn around and jump. And you're going to have to rocket him in the hat.
So I have to jump.
Yep.
It
So
was
jump.
B, and.
Yep, and then A. So you're going to tap B in the air. You're going to tap A.
Oh, yeah, already forgot.
Lucky Beer is volunteering. I subject myself to your experiments with if you're buying a fancy dinner.
Well,
Does it damage the brain when you implant these?
yes.
Okay, Huggy Beer, hopefully you don't need those parts.
It's not going to be.
It's not debilitating.
No, it's not debilitating, but it's not.
But it could be. You might forget math.
I'm sorry. I can buy you a fancy dinner without doing that to you.
Huggy Beer, you have one volunteer though.
An unequal one.
It's at least a case study. Yep, there you go. So on the way down.
Apparently, I'm unable to press 2 buttons in a consecutive order.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 10 minutes left in the stream. I think you're going to beat this before then, so we might have some. Oh, that was really close. That was a very close to a rocket shot.
Yeah, but this guy's
but if you guys have any questions, Dr. Roberto Vincis he's an expert in neurobiology and particularly sensory perception via taste, flavor reward processing, neural processing of taste. If you guys have any questions, throw those in chat. We're happy to answer those over the next 11 minutes before we end the stream. Well, Roberto beats Mr. Big, because this is what the war on drugs is right here.
Probably the streaming is gonna end before I will be able to do that.
Go to top of the screen, then you can. Oh, that was close.
I need
So
to catch
little-
his hat, or what do I need?
Yeah, you need to hit his hat with a rocket. So just tap B, maybe press it a little lighter, and then tap A when you're in the air. Yep, a little sooner than that. Little lighter tap on A, it'll give you a rocket. I hope it didn't damage. Oh, that was close. That's exactly what you want to do. So if you tap A a little later, it'll give you that.
This is come on, man. Can do it, little blue guy. No.
Closer. Huggy Beer, I hope I don't damage my brain, Homer Simpson. How about that? Did you watch The Simpsons at all growing up?
Not so much.
There was an episode where Homer had a crayon shoved up his nose and he became intelligent. Does that capture neurobiology?
Good. If you modify the right region.
Yeah, poke the right part and it's the right color crayon. It'll work out.
I mean, there have been many studies that have shown, no study, based on accident, that have shown the opposite, right? The damage on specific part of the brain causes you to change your behavior, change your mood. So maybe in this case of Homer Simpson was, you tap the right there, then you tap a part of the brain that was not working properly, and now it's this guy is being annoying. I think I'm not gonna beat Adam the One record. It's official now.
Probably not. He got, as far as I can tell, he got lucky and got this almost right away. But you want to stay at the top of the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying
so
to escape from this guy. It's
run
really...
away, left.
Come on,
There you go.
let me go.
And you'll turn around and shoot.
Yeah, I just need to.
Misadventure, I hope this was everything you hoped for out of the stream. This is how we close the night. You're going to have horrible memories of this experience.
I think I'm gonna have nightmares of this guy.
Yep, hit it a little earlier. Phineas Gage. Gage. Yeah,
yes,
the railroad spike
yes.
through his noodle.
Yeah.
Turned him into a jerk.
Yeah,
I guess they got
exactly.
divorced after that, yeah. Oh, Misadventure redeemed, take a drink. So, cheers.
I think I finished my drink.
Oh, you want one more? We have 11 minutes left.
But maybe I'm not gonna finish it.
Cheers, Misadventure. Hopefully you have a drink in hand. Hopefully you're hanging out, having some fun, watching some NARC, talking about some neurobiology and flavor processing. I mean, it's appropriate you're ending with a guy that shoots out tongues, so...
Yeah, but there is no way I can catch this guy.
You're close there. Every one of those.
I can jump, but I can't shoot.
A little less. Anytime you see his arm go out, you held it a little bit too long. There you go. Almost there.
And then he catch me with his
Yeah.
bad mouth.
And then he's... Man, the war on drugs.
You really need to be so
There it
loud.
goes. Okay, now a rocket to the face. You don't have to jump anymore.
That means
Yep. Okay, there we go. So now what you're going to do next phase, I'm sorry, you're going to go down to this portion of the screen, run away from him that way. You're going to stay between these lines, and you're going to turn back and shoot bullets and move up and down while you shoot bullets. So you want to be standing between that. All right, you got 2 of the vertebrae already. So go that
you
way.
basically need like to.
Yeah, so go get some distance. So what you're going to do is turn around and shoot bullets and move up and down while you do it. And it's stupid, but that's what you have to do. All right, if you guys have any questions, we have about 7 minutes left in the stream. Also, if you have suggestions of anyone we should raid, if there's educational streamers, that's preferred, but we're happy to raid anyone that might be interested in having Ask a Scientist Gaming raid their stream. We lose a lot of viewers by 11 o'clock at night, mostly Tallahassee viewer related. But yeah, if you guys stick around, we'll raid someone education related. Cuddle Puppy, welcome to the stream. Your official time is 1 minute and 46 seconds. Cuddle Puppy, I don't know how I stopped the clock, but I did. So, oh, there we go. Nice. All right, gold card. It's done. Smash.
Just in time.
Smash. So my record on this game is 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Adam's record is 16 minutes and 46 seconds, I want to say. And this is still a forfeiture of the level.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, that's fun. Science streaming is streaming with paleontologizing. They're 2 science-related streamers. Oh, I already stopped the clock. I think it actually froze. Look at that.
That's good.
Completely crapped out.
Good to me.
So I'll look back at the YouTube video. I'll get the actual time and I'll post it on the Discord if you guys are interested. But all right, we got 6 minutes left. What do we do for 6 minutes? I guess we could end the stream early unless you want to try Golden Axe for a little bit. Or you could call it quits. But now you got to put your initials in because you earned it. You won the war on drugs.
So now, after all this...
Yeah, you feel like it was a successful night of gaming?
Absolutely. I mean, the most successful night of gaming in 25 years.
There we go. We earned it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man.
And then I press...
End?
End.
There we go. You are the record holder until I turn off this computer, which will happen later tomorrow.
Something weird.
Oh, all right.
Me on the top.
So you had the list of questions before the stream, just to give you a heads up. I mean, is there anything I didn't ask that you were hoping to be asked? Anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't cover?
I mean, science-wise, we cover most of the most general things about taste, flavor, oral perception.
Yeah.
We also touch upon the integration of taste, olfaction, and somatosensation. I don't think we left out any.
Yeah, I think we got through the
thing.
predictions, not directly, but indirectly. I think we covered everything there. Anything from your factoids you want to drop on the audience before we call it a night?
I think we talk about the salt concentration. We talk about the
yeah, that was intriguing.
The African plant, taste map. Oh, I mean, the other thing, boy, we didn't talk. Now just to end the night. We didn't talk about the brain freeze.
Oh yeah, brain freeze. Yeah. Somebody asked Roberto about brain freezes.
Please.
No, go ahead, drop. I'm curious. Brain freeze. What causes that experience?
Sometimes we eat a lot of ice cream, and then we got like this terrible headache for tiny bits, a couple of seconds. Since we talk about integration of taste and temperature, one might think, that is the integration of, I don't know, taste and temperature, and no, that has nothing to do. Taste freeze. Brain freeze due to a very high cold, either fluid or a lot of ice cream in your mouth, is due to the fact that on the hard palate there are some innervation from a cranial nerve, the cranial nerve number 5. It's called the trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal because it has three branches. And when the hard palate gets so cold, there are like blood vessels that constrict and then rapidly dilate again, and they stimulate the trigeminal nerve that it's also responsible for headache sensation of the time. That's why you get this massive amount of headache, especially in the front of your face. That's where the trigeminal nerve innervates and send information.
Wow.
So the factoid here that the brain freeze is linked to sometimes to things we drink and we eat, but has nothing to do with taste sensation itself. Is purely headache.
So it's like constriction and then the expansion.
Yes, rapidly.
Then
due to the rapid increase of temperature on the hard palate.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's a fun one. Huggy Beer, you earned that factoid. That's amazing. That's where brain freezes come from. I hadn't even thought about that. So it's not taste related, it's temperature. That's intriguing. Do other mammals get that experience?
I never try. That's difficult to evaluate behaviorally because that unless
They like cringe and
that could be pain, right?
Yeah.
That could be something painful and not brain freeze itself. I mean, that is specific. I mean, it's also painful in the end,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
we can describe it
They can't.
as the brain freeze. They can't.
Yeah.
And we don't. At least in my lab, we don't study things that goes in the realm of nociception, which is when you actually have some stimuli that cause pain, right? So even that when we play with temperature for a fluid to see how temperature impact taste, we play with temperature that are non-nociceptive. So you have some temperature. I mean, you can have water, a glass of water, 54 degrees Celsius, which is burning, hot, it's painful. But you can also have a temperature that goes above your oral temperature, which is 32 Celsius to 36 or 40. Those are warming. They're not engaged any nociceptors, any pain receptor, but they're still engaging thermoreceptor. That's where we study. And even on the cold side, we work with cooling temperature, not freezing cold, that are also painful. So to actually study brain freeze and all the neurological consequence of it, you will need to study pain, nociception.
Yeah. So Laurie said, Google cats with brain freeze, something happens. Like they clearly give a response. I've seen these videos. Have you seen this? Where
No,
cats like
when brain
ice and
freeze?
stuff like that. They like tense up and yeah. So they probably experience it, presumably.
Well, because cats, they also do something similar, funny with that is do when they smell something that they got like frozen. That's a completely olfactory base from
Freeze them
some
to
of
open
the
their mouth. Yeah.
some of the vomeronasal organ to detect pheromones.
Yeah.
But I should look at the brain freeze with cats. Yeah, I should try with my cats.
That's your next NIH proposal right there. Brain freezes with cats and funny video related consequences. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a quits there. We are at 11 o'clock. It is time. Roberto, thank you very much for joining me. It's awesome. It's always a strange ask when I say, let's drink, play video games, and talk some science. And it's a challenge to do all those things simultaneously, but I really appreciate you joining me. It's been awesome. Any parting words for the audience?
Not specific, but thanks for all of you that follow the stream and had the patience to see me playing amazingly all the video games tonight, and for your question.
I mean, at the very least, you won the war on drugs. So
At the very least, right? With a very good record on time.
We also got to hear the sonic dying sound plus the bubble, which is that's nostalgia. That's peak fun. So, all right. Well, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Our next guest, it'll be 2 weeks from now. That'll be April 3rd, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Dr. Laura Perez Felkner, who's from the College of Education at FSU. She does social context and career outcomes, as well as race, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic disparities in post-secondary education attainment. She basically looks at what parameters dictate whether somebody goes to college and whether somebody graduates college, and so she's an expert in that domain. So yeah, if you're interested in that, swing by in a couple weeks. Even if you're not, you're always going to find something interesting that we just don't we take for granted and don't know explicitly. So I'm really excited to have Laura as a guest. So yeah, that's the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you as always for joining us in chat. It's always a pleasure. Your questions take us on very interesting journeys. So we'll call it quits there, and hopefully we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Stick around. We're going to raid Science, who's apparently has paleontologizing as a guest. So stick around. We'll drop a raid on them and hopefully get some followers from that. So thank you guys as always. We'll see you in a couple weeks.